Section 26 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2 by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Amar Das, Chapter 14, Part G. Ram Kali Ki War 1. The cultivation of the name. The true Guru is a field of happiness. He whom God causeth to love it, soweth the Name. The Name springeth up, and he is absorbed in it. Pride, which is the seed of doubt, fleeth away from him. He no longer soweth the seed of doubt. It no longer springeth up. He liveth on what God giveth him. When water blendeth with water, it cannot again be separated. Nanak, that is the way of the holy. O people, come and see. But what can wretched people see who themselves know nothing? He in whose heart God dwelleth, and to whom he showeth himself, beholdeth him. Sorrow is the portion of the perverse. The perverse man is a field of sorrow. He soweth sorrow and eateth sorrow. In sorrow is he born, in sorrow he dieth, and in pride he passeth his life. The mentally blind man acteth blindly, and thinketh not of his transmigration. He knoweth not the giver, but clingeth to what is given. He acteth as was at first destined for him. O Nanak, he cannot act otherwise. The following is a reply to a hymn of Kabir. Nanak, God will look with favour on him who hath turned himself into henna. God himself will grind it, God himself will rub it, and God himself will apply it to his feet. This is a loving cup of the Lord. He prepareth it for him with whom he is pleased. The following is a reflection on anchorets. Led astray by doubt, I have wandered the world over, and searched until I have grown weary. God gave me no peace. What can cope with him? Meditate on God under the Guru's instruction, and clasp him to thy heart. Nanak, if God be merciful, man seated in his own home can find him. The false and the true Abhyagat, or mendicant, who claims to have reached the final goal of sanctity. He in whose heart there is superstition ought not to be called an Abhyagat. Alms given to him, O Nanak, shall be as vain as himself. Few are they, O Nanak, to whose lot it hath fallen to give food to him who hungereth for the supreme reward of the fearless and pure. They should not be described as Abhyagats who eat in others' houses, and who to fill their bellies adopt many sectarial garbs. They are Abhyagats, O Nanak, who study their hearts, who search and find the Lord, and dwell in their own homes. Man must do good acts and obey God's laws. Numberless persons are absorbed in God, the mine of jewels, but the false suffer transmigration. They act as they please and suffer great punishment. Everything is in the mine of jewels, but it is only obtainable by good acts. Nanak, man obtaineth the 9 treasures if he act according to God's will. Better to taste God's ambrosia than the poison of the perverse. He who serveth not the Guru cheerfully shall lose his life by pride. The lotus of his heart shall never bloom whose tongue tasteth not God's essence. The perverse die by eating poison. They perish by worldly love. He on whom the true God looketh with favour becometh the slave of his slaves. He serveth the true Guru night and day, and never leaveth his side. As the lotus remaineth dry in the water, so he liveth a hermit in his own home. Nanak, the Lord of excellences acteth and causeth all to act as he pleaseth. Dutiful children ought to accept the counsel of sages. Elders' advice maketh children good. They who are pleasing to God heed such counsel and act accordingly. Go and consult the Simritis, the Shastras, the writings of Vyas, Shukdev, Narad, and those who uttered excellent words. They whom God attacheth to the truth remain attached to it and ever remember it. Nanak, their coming into the world is profitable who save all their families. The blind leading the blind. When the Guru is blind, the deeds of his disciples also are blind. They act as it pleaseth themselves, and continually utter the grossest falsehood. They practice lying and deception, and even slander others. The slanderers are ruined themselves, and ruin all their families. But they are, O Nanak, in the position in which God placed them. What can the poor creatures do? Nothing is gained by association with a fool. The fool listeneth to the words of the fool. What are the marks of a fool? What his acts? The fool is he who is stupid and dying of pride. In its practice he is ever miserable, and in misery he abideth. If his dearest friend fall into a well, what device shall he adopt to extricate him? A pious man would think about it, but the fool would remain aloof. By repeating God's name, the pious man is saved, and they who perish shall be saved through him. Nanak, God acteth as he pleaseth, and man must endure what cometh from him. Maru Ki War 1. The condition of those who have not the fear of God in their hearts. They who have not met the Guru, and who have not a particle of fear, suffer great pain in transmigration, and their anxiety never ceaseth. They are beaten like solid garments, or like a gong which striketh gharis and double gharis. Nanak, without the true name they are never free from entanglements. The Guru inculcates truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I have searched the three worlds, my friends, and discovered that pride is bad for men. Grieve not, O my heart, speak the truth, Nanak, the whole truth. The Guru culls divine knowledge from God's tree. The tree spontaneously produceth flowers and fruits. The bumblebee, divesting himself of fear, dwelleth among them. Nanak, there is but one tree, God, one flower, divine knowledge, and one bumblebee, the Guru. The Guru teaches true piety to a yogi. If I become a yogi, wander in the world, and beg from door to door, when my account is called for in God's court, how many persons shall I have to satisfy? Let me make the Name my alms, patience my hut, companionship with the True One my cry. I shall not then be asked for an account. God is not obtained by sectarial garb. All who adopt them shall be seized by the god of death. Nanak, their words are false. Do thou remember the true Name. Even the perverse may be saved by obeying God's order. A raven becometh not white, nor doth iron float. He who accepteth the boon of the Beloved is blessed and regenerateth others. The countenance of him who recognizeth God's orders shall become bright, and he shall cross over like iron on timber. To abandon avarice and abide in fear are, O Nanak, most meritorious acts. The heart is not chastened by wandering in forests. The ignorant man who goeth into the desert to chasten his heart cannot succeed. Nanak, if the heart be chastened, it must be by reflection on the Guru's instruction. Even though every one desire to chasten his heart, he cannot succeed. But man, O Nanak, shall chasten his heart if he meet the true Guru. Were a man to forget God, he would deserve expulsion from his fraternity. Were I to become a Pandit or an astrologer and recite the four Veds, were I to be worshipped by my wisdom and teaching in the 9 regions of the world, may it not be that I should forget the true Name, and that none should touch my cooking square. Cooking squares are all false. Nanak, God alone is true. It is when man ceases to think of merits and demerits and fixes his attention on God alone that he is saved. Were a man to forget God, he would deserve expulsion from his fraternity. Were I to become a Pandit or an astrologer and recite the four Veds, were I to be worshipped for my wisdom and teaching in the 9 regions of the world, may it not be that I should forget the true Name, and that none should touch my cooking square. Cooking squares are all false, Nanak, God alone is true. It is when man ceases to think of merits and demerits and fixes his attention on God alone that he is saved. Merits and demerits are the same, since God created both. Nanak, Happiness is obtained by obeying God's order and pondering on the Guru's instruction. The Guru refuses to use force to his slanderer. They who have no divine knowledge or a particle of fear in their hearts have been destroyed by God. Nanak, why slay the slain? The Guru rejects the Brahman horoscope and censures his pride and pretended learning. To study one's mental horoscope is the real happiness. That Brahman is good who knoweth how to meditate on God, who reflecting on the Guru's instruction extolleth God and readeth his praises. His birth is profitable, and he saveth his family. In the next world, there shall be no inquiry regarding caste. To act according to the word is the real thing. Vain all other acting, since man thus becometh attached to sin. The perverse man hath no internal happiness. His life is ruined. Nanak, they who are tinctured by the Name are saved by the Guru's boundless love. Bhairo. A Pandit asked the Guru to listen to a discourse of his. The Guru refused. Upon this the Pandit said he himself was a Brahman, while the Guru was only a Khatri, and it was the duty of Khatris to listen to Brahmans. The Guru replied as follows: Let none be proud of his caste. He who knoweth God is a Brahman. O stupid fool, be not proud of thy caste. From such pride many sins result. Everybody saith there are 4 castes, but they all proceeded from God's seed. The world is all made out of one clay, but the potter fashioned it into vessels of many sorts. The body is formed from the union of 5 elements. Let any one consider if he hath less or more in his composition. Saith Nanak, the soul is fettered by its acts. Without meeting the true Guru, salvation is not obtained. Basant. The sectarial dresses, the scriptures, and the pilgrimages of the Hindus are of no avail. Even if man take off his clothes, become naked, and wear matted hair, how can he obtain union with God? His mind is not pure, nor tarrieth it at the 10th gate. The foolish person wandereth and returneth again and again in transmigration. O foolish man, meditate on the one God, and thou shalt at once cross the world's ocean. They who expound the Simritis and the Shastars, and who as divines and learned men read the Purans, practice in their hearts hypocrisy and deception. God cometh not near them. How shall they obtain the Pure One, who while practicing great self-restraint and performing ceremonial works and special adoration have greed within them and harbour the deadly sins in their hearts? What can he make who is made himself, and whose movements are in God's power? If God look on him with favour, his doubts shall cease, and if he understands God's order, he shall obtain the True One. He in whose heart is the filth of sin may wander on pilgrimages through the countries of the world. Yet, O Nanak, it is only when he associateth with the true Guru that the obstacles in the terrible ocean shall break for his passage. The holy enjoy perpetual spring. When spring cometh, the forests bloom, but men and lower animals only bloom by thinking on God. In this way the mind is refreshed. By repeating God's name day and night under the Guru's instruction, pride is removed and washed away. When the true Guru reciteth his verses and hymns, the world bloometh again by his love. Fruits and flowers are produced when God himself produceth them. When man findeth the true Guru, he attacheth himself to God, the root of all things. God is a spring, the whole world is his garden. Nanak, by perfect good fortune special service is performed. End of section 26. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 27 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, Its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Amar Das, Chapter 14, Part H. Sarang Ki War. The Hindus fast on the 11th day of the light and dark halves of the lunar month. Besides these, certain other days of the lunations are occasionally dedicated to certain Hindu divinities. Thus the 9th is sacred to Devi, the 10th to Digpal, or the elephants who support the 8 points of the compass, the 11th to Vishnu, and the 12th to Bhawan, his dwarf incarnation. The Guru in the following gives substitutes for these fasts. The shlok was addressed to Brahmins who censured the Guru for his neglect of fasting. If man on the 9th day make a vow to speak the truth, his lust, wrath, and covetousness will depart. The 10th day is auspicious, if one restrain the organs of action and perception. The 11th day is auspicious, if one then know that God is one. If on the 12th day man preserve himself from the 5 deadly sins, then, O Nanak, shall he be happy. If fasts be thus observed, O Pandit, why give more instruction? Brahmins and sectaries obtain no advantage from reading and pilgrimages. Pandits and men vowed to silence grow weary of reading. Men who wear sectarial dresses grow weary of wandering from country to country. Through love of the world they never obtain God's name, and very great misery attacheth to them. They are stupid and blind, and make it their business to serve mammon. With deception in their hearts, the fools read books to fill their bellies. They who have expelled pride from their hearts serve the true Guru and obtain happiness. Nanak, there is only one name to read and meditate on. A few reflecting men know this. Man must accept the inevitable. As he came naked into the world, so must he depart. Naked man cometh, naked he departeth. Such is the will of God. What can be done? He who gave life will take it away. With whom shall man be angry on that account? He who is pious obeyeth God's will, and tranquilly quaffeth divine nectar. Nanak, ever praise the giver of happiness and repeat his name with thy tongue. No hope from false gods. When men have forgotten God's name, what other name will they utter? They are as worms in ordure. Their worldly affairs like thieves have robbed them. May Nanak not forget God's name. False is all other desire. The fate of those who forget the name, they who forget the name even though they perform many other religious acts, are bound and beaten in the city of death, O Nanak, like robbers caught horsebreaking. Man should be firm in his devotion. As long as the mind is inconstant, man indulgeth in great pride and arrogance. He relisheth not the word and loveth not the name. His service is not acceptable. He fretteth and fretteth until he becometh an object of contempt. Nanak, call him a servant who would cut off his head, place it before his master. Obey the order of the true Guru and take his instruction to heart. Only what pleases God can be deemed devotion, penance, and service. If man renounce his pride, God will pardon him and blend him with himself. Man once blended with God will never be separated. Light will be blended with light. Nanak, that man knoweth God whom he causeth to know him through the Guru's favour. God is ever young and his name is ever holy. The True One never groweth old, and his name is never defiled. He who walketh in the way of the Guru shall not be born again. Nanak, he who forgetteth the name shall both come and go. He who obeys and loves the Almighty needs not fear death. The order of the unconcerned is over all. No artifice can succeed, and no argument prevail against him. The holy man who effaceth himself accepteth God's will, seeketh his protection, and renounceth his pride, shall not feel death's mace. Nanak, he is a worshipper who fixeth his love on the True One. The Creator and the creature contrasted. All gifts, splendour, and beauty are thine, O God. Many artifices and pride are mine. They who harbour covetousness, worldly love, and pride shall never be free from transmigration. however many ceremonial acts they perform. Nanak, the Creator himself causeth to act. What pleaseth him is good. Malar ki War, the mental happiness obtained by heeding pious instruction. On meeting the Guru, the mind is happy as after rain the earth is decorated. Everything appeareth green, the lakes and pools are filled to the brim. The colour of the True One attacheth to the heart as redness to madder. The lotus of the heart bloometh by obeying the True One. Man is rendered happy by the Guru's word. The perverse turn to worldly love. Carefully consider this. The god of death is seen standing over their heads as if they were ensnared deer. Avarice, covetousness, and slander are evil. Lust and wrath terrible. God appeareth not to our eyes until we reflect on his word. They who please thee, O God, acquire patience and no longer have domestic entanglements. By serving the Guru, man saveth his capital. The Guru is a ladder and a boat of salvation. Nanak, they who love God obtain him. Thou art true, O God, and true is he who obeyeth thee. When the Guru instructs, the heart assumes a different colour. It is supposed that an Indian woman's passions increase when there are clouds. Here she is considering what her relations with her spouse will be, whether he will withdraw or grant her his love. In the latter case, she will be held to be imbued with a different colour. Lowering clouds come and give the earth different colours. I know not how long the love with which I have inspired my spouse will endure. The women shall be happy in whose hearts there are fear and love. Nanak, they who feel not fear and love are not happy. When lowering clouds come and the pure rain falleth, O Nanak, the women who have broken with their spouse are unhappy. When lowering clouds come and rain falleth continuously, O Nanak, the woman who acteth as her husband desireth ever enjoyeth his embraces. It is God alone who sends rain. Why stand ye up to look, unhappy people? This cloud can do nothing. It is he who sent the cloud ye should treasure in your hearts. He giveth himself a residence in the hearts of those on whom he looketh with favour. Nanak, all on whom God looketh not with favour shall lament. As the chatrik is in need of rain, so is man in need of divine instruction. O chatrik, every one longeth for him on whom thou callest. When God is merciful, it will rain, and the forests and glades become green. God is found by the Guru's favour. Few are they who know this. Resting or standing continually meditate on him, and thou shalt be happy for ever and ever. Nanak, nectar ever reigneth. God bestoweth it on the pious. God sends a divine teacher when required. When the world is in distress, it heartily prayeth. The True One attentively listeneth, and with his kind disposition granteth consolation. He giveth orders to the cloud god, and the rain falleth in torrents. Then corn and wealth are produced in great abundance and of untold value. Nanak, praise his name who giveth to all creatures their sustenance, by eating whereof happiness is produced and misery felt no more. God knows man's necessities better than he knows them himself. O chatrik, cry not, and allow not thy heart to long for water. Obey the order of the Lord. Nanak, by obeying his order thy thirst shall depart, and thou shalt have fourfold love for him. There is no lack of divine instruction, but men receive it not. O chatrik, thy dwelling is in the water, thou wanderest in the water. Thou knowest not the water's value, and so thou fallest a-screaming. It raineth everywhere on sea and land. There is no place without rain. So much rain falleth that they who are dying of thirst and receive it not are unfortunate. Nanak, the pious in whose hearts God dwelleth find the water. It is they who are favoured by God who receive divine instruction. This water raineth on every one. God by his kind disposition causeth it to fall. The trees which by the Guru's instruction are absorbed in God become green. Nanak, the animals on which God looketh with favour become happy, and their misery departeth. The bliss of those who receive divine instruction. On a wet night there is lightning, and it raineth in torrents. If it be the will of God, where it reigneth, much corn and wealth shall be produced, by using which the heart will be satisfied, and men will perform their duties. This wealth is the sport of the Creator. It sometimes cometh, and sometimes goeth. But the Name is the wealth of those who possess divine knowledge. They are ever absorbed in it. Nanak, they on whom God looketh with favour shall obtain this wealth. As the chatrik will not drink ordinary water, so men will not receive instruction. This world is a chatrik. Let none make a mistake herein. This chatrik is an animal without understanding. Otherwise it would know that God's name is nectar, by drinking which thirst departeth. Nanak, the pious who drink it shall not again be thirsty. When God is merciful, men receive saving instruction. The malar is refreshing. By meditation on God in it, comfort is obtained. If God show His mercy, it raineth over the whole world. By rain animals obtain the means of subsistence, and the earth is decorated. Nanak, this world is all water. From water everything hath sprung. The few who know God by the Guru's favour are ever emancipated. God, without being asked, gives man what is good for him. O chatrik, thou knowest not the palace of the Lord. When thou seest it, pray there. Thou prayest much to please thyself. Thy words are not acceptable. The Lord is very beneficent. What thou desirest, thou shalt obtain from Him. Then the world's thirst, to say nothing of thine, poor chatrik, shall depart. The chatrik, on obtaining the special drops it desires, is compared to the man disposed to receive instruction. The chatrik on a rainy day, naturally loving the True One, crieth, "This water is my life. Without water I cannot live." So by the Guru's instruction the water of life is found when man dispelleth his pride. Nanak, the true Guru hath caused me to meet him, without whom I cannot live for a moment. God is not to be importuned for secular favours. O chatrik, the chaste woman obtaineth access to her spouse's chamber. The unchaste one is banished. Within thee God dwelleth, and is ever present with the holy. Thou shalt not have to shout and scream when God looketh on thee with favour. Nanak, they who love the Name and act according to the Guru's instruction shall be easily blended with God. In the following, the chatrik represents the pious man praying for the gift of life. The chatrik prayeth, "O God, mercifully grant me the gift of life. Without water my thirst will not be quenched. I shall expire. Thou, O God, art the giver of happiness illimitable. Thou art the giver and treasury of favours. Nanak, God pardoneth the pious, and at the last hour becometh their friend." The worldly man, like the chatrik, accepts not what God grants him, but seeks his own advantages. O chatrik, thou knowest not what thirst there is within thee, and by what draught it shall be quenched. Through worldly love thou wanderest, and the immortal water thou obtainest not. If God cast His glance of favour, the true Guru will be easily found. Nanak, the immortal water will be obtained from Him, and man will be easily absorbed in God. When man rises early for prayer, his supplication is granted. The chatrik calleth at the ambrosial hour of morning, and his prayer is heard in God's court. God mercifully issueth an order to the cloud to kindly rain. The joy felt by the holy in the rainy season. Woman shall be happy in Sawan by reflecting on the Guru's instruction. Nanak, by her unequalled love for the Guru, she shall ever be a happy wife. But she who is devoid of virtue, and who is attached to a second love, shall burn in Sawan. Nanak, she careth not for her spouse, and therefore despiseth all decoration. Supplementary Shloks. In the opinion of the Guru, forgetfulness of God's name is the greatest sin. Saith Nanak, by forgetting the one Name, sin is committed equal in the estimation of the Hindus to the killing of Brahmans, kine, and virgins, eating the food of the sinful, and the million transgressions which render men accursed and ever victims of pride. Let all other wisdom depart, as long as the knowledge of the one God remaineth. The devotion of the saints is compared to that of the fond wife who cooks elaborate dishes for her spouse. As a devoted wife in her husband's house, intensely desiring to perform service for him, prepareth him viands of many savours, making some tart and others sweet, even with the same devotion the saints praise and apply their hearts to God's name. They offer the Guru their souls, bodies, and wealth. They would even sell their heads and place them before him. Many saints pray for the fear and service of God. God fulfilleth their desires and blendeth them with himself. The spiritual exaltation of the holy. In the heart of the pious man is composure. His soul ascendeth to the 10th heaven, where there is nor sleep nor hunger, and where God's ambrosial name, which conferreth bliss, abideth. Nanak, sorrow is not felt where the light of God shineth. The fate of the perverse. The perverse man is of unstable mind. In his heart he hath many artifices. What he hath done and what he doeth is all in vain. He is in no way acceptable. The fruit of his religious acts and alms shall all go to the king of death. Without the true Guru, the king of death will not release him. He shall be ruined by his worldly love. His youth glideth imperceptibly away, and on attaining old age he dieth without repentance. Children and wives are objects of affection, but at the last moment none of them will assist or accompany him. The condition of those who practice worldly love. Worldly love is an ocean of sorrow, difficult to cross, nay, uncrossable. The perverse pass their lives in avarice and pine away talking of their possessions. They can neither retreat nor advance. They remain entangled in mid-ocean. May God pardon man's transgressions. The following is repeated by many Sikhs on rising in the morning. We commit many sins of which there is no end. O God, be mercifully pleased to pardon them. We are great sinners and transgressors. O God, Thou pardonest and blendest unto Thee. Otherwise it will not come to our turn to be pardoned. The Guru graciously cut off our sins and transgressions by blending us with God. Hail to those, O Nanak, who have meditated on God's name. Rely not on the covetous. As far as possible, rely not on a covetous man. At the last moment he will lead thee when nobody can lend thee a hand. The condition of the perverse. The perverse are like children and dotards whose hearts take no thought of God. The perverse and the pious contrasted. How shall he who doeth evil be acceptable? He shall burn in his own anger. The perverse man is a fool and worrieth himself with quarrelling. He who is pious knoweth everything. Nanak, the pious struggleth with his own heart. His singers represented to the Guru that the Dhanasari was a very popular measure, and that whenever they played or sang it, they usually received large rewards from others. On this the Guru composed the following: The Dhanasari measure is worthy of praise, brethren, if it perform the work of the true Guru. Brethren, heartily entrust to him thy body and soul along with thy life. Turn away from the world and obey his order. Where he seateth, you there sit, brethren, and whither he sendeth you, thither go. There is no wealth, brethren, so great as the true name. May I ever sing the praises of the True One, brethren, and ever abide with the True One. Make God's attributes and praises your raiment, brethren, and enjoy the relish of the honour he granteth you. Why merely praise him, brethren? You ought to offer sacrifices yourselves for a sight of him. A man proud of his long beard went to visit Guru Angad, but would not bow to him. Guru Amar Das thus addressed the offender: That is a real beard which toucheth the Guru's feet. They who day and night serve their Guru ever abide in happiness. Nanak, they are seen with beaming faces at the court of the True One. The advantage of possessing everything true. When men speak the truth and act the truth, true are their mouths and true their beards. The true Word dwelleth in their hearts, and they shall be blended with the true Guru. From the capital springeth true wealth, and the highest rank is obtained. They who hear the truth, obey the truth, and practice truth, shall obtain a seat in the true court, and be absorbed in the True One. Nanak, without the true Guru, the True One shall not be obtained. the perverse shall go astray. The advantage of meeting the Guru. The chatrik crieth, Priyo, Priyo, beloved, beloved, through love of the cloud. If it meet the Guru, it shall receive cool water to remove all its pain. Its thirst shall depart, composure ensue, and it shall cease its cries and screams. Nanak, the pious who hold the Name to their hearts obtain peace. The joy of him who is devoted to God. Nanak, he who is absorbed in the service of the true Guru enjoyeth perpetual spring. God is pleased with him, his mind and body bloom, and the whole world is clad in verdure for him. The orison of the holy. At early dawn, whose name should we take? We should take the name of God, who is omnipotent to destroy and to create. The inanimate world also praises the Creator. O Persian wheel, thou also speakest well, saying, Tu, Tu, thou, thou. But the Lord is ever present. Why call to him with a loud voice? Man ought to be a sacrifice to him who created the world and made creatures of different species. The forests and glades of the world meditate on thee, O God, and thus ever pass their nights and days. Salvation is not obtained by wearing a sectarial dress. Union with God is not obtained by an ochre-coloured robe, nor by a dirty garment. Nanak, it is obtained sitting in one's own home under the Guru's instruction. A perusal of the Veds will render man no assistance. Wert thou to wander in all directions and read the Veds through the 4 ages, it would be all in vain. Nanak, if thou meet the true Guru, God will dwell in thy heart, and thou shalt attain the gate of deliverance. End of section 27. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 28 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Ram Das, the 4th Guru, Chapter 1. Guru Ram Das's parentage and birth, his early life, his meeting with Guru Amar Das, his marriage with Guru Amar Das's daughter Bibi Bhani, and many other incidents in his life have already been related in the life of Guru Amar Das. The manner in which Emperor Akbar bestowed several villages on Bibi Bhani, Guru Amar Das's daughter, after they had been refused by her father, has also been narrated. She assigned them during her father's lifetime to her husband. How the construction of the tank in Amritsar was entrusted to Jetha, and how he was appointed Guru Amar Das's successor under the name of Guru Ram Das have also been related. It needs hardly be said that Guru Ram Das adopted the principles and tenets of Guru Amar Das. The minstrel Satta dedicated to Guru Ram Das on his installation the 7th pauri of the composition which is known in the Granth Sahib as the joint production of Balwand and Satta, previously called the Coronation Ode. Hail, hail Guru Ram Das! God who created thee hath decorated thee. Complete are the miracles which the Creator himself performed. The Sikhs and their congregation bowed to thee since God was with thee. Thou art immovable, unfathomable, unequalled. Thou hast no end or bounds. Thou didst save those who worshipped thee with love. Thou didst expel with ignominy their former avarice, greed, lust, wrath, and worldly love with their train. Hail to thy place! True are those who abide in thy presence. Thou art Nanak, thou art Lahina, thou art Amar Das. So I deem thee. When I saw the Guru, my spirits were sustained. One day the Sikhs represented to the Guru, "The Purans describe the advantages of pilgrimages, and thou sayest that the repetition of the Name is the most efficacious form of worship. Be pleased to satisfy our minds on the subject." The Guru replied, They who go on pilgrimages commit every species of enormity. Whatever good acts they perform are merely for ostentation. They give alms to those who flatter them to their faces, or speak well of them to others. How shall persons like that be saved? The Guru then quoted the following hymn of Guru Nanak: Shall I go to bathe at a place of pilgrimage? God's name is my name of pilgrimage. The places of pilgrimage are the Word, contemplation, and the divine knowledge within me. The divine knowledge given by the Guru is the true place of pilgrimage, where the 10 auspicious times for bathing and the Dasahra are always present. I ever beg for God's true name. Grant it me, O God, sustainer of the earth. The world is ill, the Name is its medicine. Without the True One, the filth of sin attacheth to it. The Guru's word is pure and ever diffuseth light. Ever bathe in such a true place of pilgrimage. Filth attacheth not to the true. What filth have they to wash off? Twice for thyself a garland of virtues, and then what shalt thou have to grieve for? He who chasteneth himself by meditation shall be saved. He shall save others and never again return to a womb. The supreme meditator is himself the philosopher's stone. The true are pleasing to the True One. They feel happiness and true joy night and day. Their sorrow and their sins depart. The true Guru hath shown God to him who hath obtained the true name. No impurity attacheth to him in whose heart is the True One. Association with the congregation of the saints is the perfect ablution. Sweet is the voice of the singer who singeth of God. Praising the True One and obeying the true Guru are in my opinion equal to alms deeds and works of mercy. He who loveth the society of the Beloved shall easily bathe in the society of those who are the truest of the true, as his Tribeni. Worship the one true God, who ever giveth and whose gifts ever increase. Salvation is obtained by associating with saints. God associateth with the company of the saints him on whom he looketh with favour. Every one giveth accounts of God. How great shall I say he is? I by myself am a blockhead now, low and ignorant, but I understand him from the Guru's description. True is the teaching of the Guru, whose words are nectar. My heart is satisfied therewith. Man marcheth off to a place of pilgrimage, and returneth laden with sin, while, if he has remained under the Guru's instruction, he would have found the True One. There should be no end to speaking of God. He is the storekeeper of devotion and everywhere diffused. Nanak maketh a true representation. It is he who cleanseth his heart who is pure. To this the Guru added the following hymn of his own. The Pandits read the Shastars and the Simritis. The Yogis cry Gorakh, Gorakh. But I who am ignorant repeat God's name. I know not, O Lord, what condition shall be. Worship God, O my soul, so shalt thou sail over the terrible ocean. The Sannyasis apply ashes to decorate their bodies. The Brahmacharis altogether avoid women. But my hopes, O God, ignorant though I am, are in thee. The Khatri performeth deeds and obtaineth the rank of a hero. The Sudars and the Vaisyas work for others. God's name hath saved me who am ignorant. The whole creation is thine. Thou pervadest every place. Nanak, God giveth greatness to the holy. I, being blind, have set up God as my prop. The Guru continued, even if one go on a pilgrimage, the Name ought to be praised. Indeed, it is by praising the Name all advantages, whether temporal or spiritual, are obtained, and it was for the magnification of the Name places of pilgrimages were established on spots frequented by great Rikis and Munis who had spent their days in that form of devotion. On the other hand, making pilgrimages involveth great sufferings and ruffleth the temper, whereas the pilgrimage of the Name requireth no exertion and causeth no exasperation. What is even the Tribeni, a place so holy in the estimation of the Hindus? The Tribeni of the Sikhs is to repeat God's name, sing His praises, and know Him present in every heart. Without intelligence and discrimination, men go astray at pilgrimages. What pilgrimages did Kabir and Rav Das make! Yet they obtained salvation and are reverenced by the world. They each abode in a hut at the pilgrimage of the Name. The restraint of their desires they make the four walls of their lowly dwellings. Love and devotion were their roofs, and divine knowledge and meditation the beams on which they rested. They kept the love of God in their hearts to preserve them from the rain of bad company, the cold of superstition, and the heat of avarice. By dwelling in such huts men need not wander on pilgrimages, and may easily obtain deliverance from transmigration. Sri Chand, the eldest son of Baba Nanak, wore long hair, wandered a naked hermit, and established the sect of the Udasis. He would not go to meet either Guru Angad or Guru Amar Das. But now that a long time had elapsed since his father's death, and he had partially forgotten his imaginary grievances, he thought he would visit Guru Ram Das. When he arrived in the suburbs of Goindwal, the Guru went and took him, as a son of Guru Nanak, an offering of sweets and 500 rupees in money. Sri Chand, on beholding Guru Ram Das, thought him the very image of Guru Nanak. In course of conversation, Sri Chand remarked to him that he had grown a long beard. The Guru replied, "Yes, I have grown a long beard, that I may wipe thy feet therewith." Whereupon the Guru proceeded to suit the action to the word. Sri Chand felt abashed, drew back his feet from the Guru, and said, "O great king, thou art senior, thou art in my father's place. It is magic like this which hath made thee a Guru. I possess no such power, and therefore was I superseded. I cannot express thy greatness. The Sikhs who come to behold thee shall be saved." One day the Guru, while meditating on Guru Amar Das, remembered that he had received from him a parting injunction to preach the true Name everywhere, and make a supreme place of pilgrimage at Amritsar. He asked his brothers-in-law, Mohan and Mohri, to accompany him thither for the purpose, but they refused. He went himself and spent several months there excavating the tank ordered by Guru Amar Das. In process of time, a deputation of Sikhs came to him from Lahore, inviting him to extend his journey to their ancient city. They said, "Since thy parents died, thou hast not visited thy birthplace. Return home, meet thy relations, preach to the Sikhs, and bless thy city. Wherever thou treadest, thou savest numberless sinners." The Guru accordingly proceeded to Lahore. As he approached that city, his relations and Sikhs came forth to meet him. He remained there for some time, turned his parents' house into a temple, and built a well near it for the devotional ablutions of his followers. During his sojourn in his natal city, he made many converts. It is said that his person and his words possessed such attractive power that all who came under his influence felt constrained to embrace his religion. In due time he returned to Goindwal. End of section 28. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 29 of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MacAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das. Chapter 2. A company of yogis with their superior went to make trial of the Guru. They said, "Great king, thy Sikhs practice not Yog with its 8 limbs or accessories, and without doing so the mind is never at peace. Until the mind is at peace, God is not obtained. Until God is obtained, salvation is impossible, and until salvation is obtained, the soul shall wander through the 84 lakhs of existences. O Guru, how can thy Sikhs obtain salvation? What advantage do they gain by serving thee?" The Guru replied, "As the teats on a goat's neck yield no milk, so Yog without piety yieldeth no advantage. My Sikhs are family men, and may obtain salvation in that condition of life. It would be impossible for them to practice Yog. The best means of practicing Yog is a repetition of the Name. The Name is implanted in the hearts of my Sikhs, and they repeat it day and night. all persons in whose hearts there are love and devotion shall undoubtedly obtain deliverance from transmigration. Wealth or supernatural power may strive to lead them astray, but will not succeed. Profit or loss, joy or sorrow, praise or blame never cause them to waver. At every breath they repeat the name of Sri Vaheguru, the immortal God. They never incline to mammon or worldly advantages, since they know that all such things are perishable and delusive like a mirage. He who hath not divine knowledge is like a man in a lonely forest in the heat of the year, who searcheth for water but findeth only a sandy waste. The sun above him burneth his head, the sand beneath him his feet, and he findeth no respite from his sufferings. He who on the contrary hath divine knowledge knoweth that it is not water, but a sea of sand that is before him, that everything is false, and that God alone is true. Without love and devotion to God, all other means of obtaining salvation are unprofitable. O Yogis, it is very difficult even for yourselves to practice Yog in this age, and you can never obtain perfection by it. Even if you obtain supernatural power, it is very difficult to fix your attention on God, for the mind wandereth in every direction, and is not at rest even for a moment. But supposing it were possible to practice Yog, thoughts of wealth and supernatural power would ultimately lead men astray. Their desire is to obtain money, beautiful women, fame, greatness, and honour. In such aspirations man forgetteth God. They who know Him are never led astray. However potent their temptations may be, they conquer them, and therefore enjoy the sweets of divine knowledge and meditation. A man may wear a yogi's garb, but without devotion in his heart, God never entereth it. It must be one of our main objects to extricate ourselves from the mire of the world. The Guru completed his instructions to the yogis by repeating to them the following hymn: O Yogi, when thou touchest the strings only with thy hands, thy lute is played in vain. Under the Guru's instruction, utter God's praises, O Yogi, and dye thy soul with the dye of God's love. O Yogi, teach thine intellect divine instruction. The one God existeth in every age. I bow before Him. Thou singest in many measures and arguest in many ways, but thy heart is only playing a game. Thou desirest to work thy well and water the ground after the oxen have gone to pasture. Perform the duty of sowing God's name in the soul of thy body. God will then germinate, and there shall be a verdant field. Yoke a constant mind for a bullock, and by means of it irrigate thy love of God with the Guru's instruction. Yogis, Yangams, and all creation, O Lord, are thine. They walk by the wisdom thou givest. O Lord of slave Nanak, searcher of hearts, turn my soul unto thee. On account of the general impression produced by the Guru's teaching, people of every class and religion flocked to see and hear him, and there was a great accession of converts. Several persons, as usual in such cases, became envious of his fame and success, and foremost among them was the third Tap or penitent. He said, "This is really the terrible Kal age. I, a penitent, bear cold and heat, yet people heed me not, while they reverence this married man as a Guru." Thus the Tap spluttered and foamed and impotently raged. One day he repaired to the Guru's court and thus addressed him: "O Guru, thy Sikhs are very proud. They accept not the Veds nor Shastras. They make no pilgrimages, nor do they fast, perform the usual religious duties of Hindus, or practice austerities of any sort. They only reverence thee and recognize thy compositions. Their adoration is confined to the utterance of Vaheguru. These misguided people are losing the advantages of their human birth. Pray tell me, sir, however can they go to heaven?" The Guru replied, "O Tap, my Sikhs desire not heaven. Heaven they deem not fit reward for their merits. They never engage in worship which is merely intended for the admiration of the public. Their minds are absorbed in God's love. That is their heaven and their salvation. Thou knowest not the glory of the saints. Thou hast forsaken the real thing, attached thyself to false ceremonies, and forfeited thy salvation. Thy mind is filled with pride. Through pride and boasting, men completely lose their way in this world. Without faith no devotion, penance, or worship availeth. Through pride and boasting, Men completely lose their way in this world. Without faith no devotion, penance, or worship availeth. They who possess no faith are drowned in lust, wrath, worldly love, covetousness, pride, and whatever else there is of evil. It is not so with my Sikhs. Their confidence and trust are reposed in the one immortal God. At every breath they repeat His name, and thus easily merit salvation. They are in themselves pure and holy places. The Guru composed the following on the occasion: The Ganges, the Jamuna, the Godavari, and the Saraswati make efforts to obtain the dust of the saints' feet. They say, the filth of sin which falleth unto us from those who are full of it is washed away by the dust of the saints' feet. Bathe in the Name as in the 68 places of pilgrimage. When the dust of the saints' feet riseth and falleth into the eyes, it removeth all the filth of evil inclinations. Bhagirath by penance brought down the Ganges, and Shiv established Kedarnath and Banaras. Krishan herded cows in Vrindavan, but it was by producing saints of God that all these places became famous. All the places of pilgrimage which the gods established long for the dust of the saints' feet, and say, when we meet a saint of God and a holy man of the Guru, we will apply the dust of his feet to our foreheads. O my Lord, all thy creation longeth for the dust of the saints' feet. Nanak, God granteth the dust of the saints' feet to him on whose forehead it hath been written, and saveth him. It is said that Tap was convinced on hearing this hymn and embraced the Sikh religion. The Guru occupied most of his time in composing hymns breathing great devotional fervour and in receiving and addressing his Sikhs. Piles of wealth were offered him, but his thoughts turned not in that direction. Among the Sikhs at Goindwal was a simple man called Handal, a native of Jandiala in the present district of Amritsar, who was ever on the alert to perform submissive service for the Guru. Handal continually repeated God's name, conversed with no one, and remained absorbed in devotion. He was unaffected by joy or sorrow, and every one loved him on account of his childlike nature, but he himself bore neither love nor hate to any one, and was known as a saint. One day the Guru went to visit his kitchen. There he saw willing Sikhs at work. Handal, who was kneading flour at the time, was delighted to see him and prepared to prostrate himself before him. As the wet flour was adhering to his hands, he put them behind his back so that they might not be seen, and then threw himself at the Guru's feet. The Guru was gratified on seeing his true and humble devotion. O Handal, thy love is pleasing to my soul. Thou hast prostrated thyself in a new manner. Thy service is complete. What thou desirest, that will I give thee. The Guru blessed him, gave him a robe of honour, granted him deliverance, and thus addressed him: return to thy native town, repeat the Name, initiate Sikhs, and keep them on the Guru's way. Have confidence in none but the Creator and the true Guru. Handal went home and lived in Jandiala, where a shrine has been erected in his honour. His followers do not perform the Hindu obsequies, nor take the bones of the dead to the Ganges. The vessels and clothes offered by the Hindus to the dead to wear on their journey are by the Handalis applied to their own wants, instead of being distributed to the inferior priests who minister at the Hindu funeral rites. Strange to say, it was the descendants of this pious man who introduced falsehood into the lives of the Gurus and destroyed the first authentic accounts of their lives. End of section 29. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 30 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 3. About that time, Gurdas, author of Wars and Kabits, went to visit the Guru. He prostrated himself before him and said, "My Lord, Thou art the honour of the unhonoured, the life of the holy, the protector of the poor. I have come to seek thy protection. Make me a disciple of thine." The Guru was ever pleased to accede to such a request, and, having heard of Gur Das's good report as a Sikh, directed him to go to Agra and preach the Sikh religion there. Bhai Gur Das became a famous and successful preacher. He sent several of the Agra Sikhs to the Guru, who taught them the advantages of human birth and the necessity of working out ultimate salvation therein. The Guru at that time composed the following for the instruction of his Sikhs in the practice of their religion: "Let him who calleth himself a Sikh of the true Guru rise early and meditate on God. Let him exert himself in the early morning, bathe in the tank of nectar, repeat God's name under the Guru's instruction, and all his sins and transgressions shall be erased. Let him at sunrise sing the Guru's hymns, and whether sitting or standing, meditate on God's name. The disciple who at every breath meditateth on God will please the Guru's heart. The Guru communicateth instruction to that disciple of his to whom my Lord is merciful. The slave Nanak prayeth for the dust of the feet of that Guru's disciple who himself repeateth God's name and causeth others to do so." The Guru again reminded his disciples of the order of Guru Amar Das to make a nectareous tank, the sacred Sikh tank in Amritsar, as a second place of Sikh pilgrimage, and exhorted them to assist in completing the work he had begun. The Guru and his party proceeded to a thick forest filled with luxuriant Indian trees. He rested beneath the shade of the shisham tree, near which he had previously laid out the tank and done some excavation. The Kardar, or magistrate and revenue collector of Patti, a town in the Lahore district, had 5 daughters, but was not favoured with a son. All the daughters are described as beautiful, virtuous, and obedient. 4 of them were married, and happened at the time to be visiting their parents, but the youngest had not yet been even betrothed. One day the whole 5 went to bathe and enjoy fresh air in their father's country garden. As they were returning home, they met a company of saints engaged in divine worship. One of the saints burst forth into God's praises, while the unmarried one remained to hear the holy man as he sang the 8th shlok of the Asa ki War. The saint thus concluded his discourse: "God is the cherisher and Lord of all. He is the cause of causes. He setteth everything in motion and holdeth everything in his own power. It is the one God who destroyeth and preserveth, who produceth and cherisheth." When the young lady heard this and similar instruction, divine love sprang up within her. She then and there divested herself of her jewels and superfluous costly raiment and distributed them among the saints. Having thus gratified her spiritual promptings, she went home, and there continued to be absorbed in God's love. She lost no time in communicating to her sisters the instruction and spiritual satisfaction she had received. When her mother heard that her youngest daughter had suddenly undertaken the role of preacher, she became very angry and informed her husband. The father, in order to make trial of his daughters, summoned them all to his presence and asked who gave them to eat and drink, and who cherished and protected them. The 4 married daughters, bowing to their father, said that it was their parents who had provided them with food and cherished and protected them. The jewels and ornaments and everything they possessed had been the gifts of their parents. The father, seeing that his youngest daughter was silent, inquired the cause. She then found utterance: "The one God alone is the cherisher of creation. Parents are only a pretext." Her father was very angry on hearing this reply, and again addressed her: "Who hath given thee clothes and jewels?" She replied, "Father dear, all are God's gifts. It is the Creator who bestoweth everything. He giveth to thee and to me, and protecteth us all." The father replied, "I shall see if God will protect thee." After some time a leprous cripple came to the town. His flesh, where not melting away, was eaten by worms, and his whole body emitted a foul odour. To such a man did the angry father marry his pious daughter without her consent and without a dowry. He stripped her even of the jewels and dresses she had retained after her offerings to the saints. It was impossible for her to be pleased with her husband, yet she bore her evil fate with fortitude and said, O God, although I can have no happiness in this world with my husband, yet Thou art my true Lord and Creator. Thou cherisheth the 84 lakhs of existences and wilt also cherish me. Saying this, she set herself to wait on her leprous spouse as if he were her god. She begged from door to door, thus maintained him and herself, and wore out her days of sorrow. One day her husband addressed her, My beloved, my beautiful, other people shun me in disgust and will not even touch me, but thou waitest on me with extreme self-devotion. I have now one more request to make thee. By granting it, God will vouchsafe thee thy reward. She replied, My body and soul are thine, and as thou orderest, so shall I do. Then her husband said, I was born a cripple, and afterwards contracted leprosy. I am weak, poor, and miserable. Far from being able to serve others, I cannot maintain myself. Attached to me thou hast undergone great hardship and misery. I have now suffered for my evil acts in former states of existence, but I have done nothing good even in this life. Now do me this last favour by taking me to a place of pilgrimage, that I may endeavour to earn salvation hereafter. She procured a basket, put her husband into it, and tenderly bore him on her head to Hardwar, Tribeni, and other places of Hindu pilgrimage in the hope of curing him of his malady. Wandering and wandering, she, by the divine guidance of piety and virtue, arrived footsore and weary at the very spot which the third Guru had indicated and the fourth Guru had marked out as the site of his tank of nectar, and there laid down her burden. She and her husband were soon seized with an imperious desire for food, and bethought them how it was to be obtained. After much discussion, during which the wife expressed her reluctance to leave her husband, it was decided that he should remain under a ber tree in the cool and grateful proximity of the water, while she departed to the nearest village to beg her daily meal. The leper, left alone, saw two crows fighting. One had a piece of bread in its mouth, which the other tried to snatch. While they were struggling, the bread fell into the pool. Both birds swooped down upon it. On emerging from the tank's tiny wavelets, they became swans of singular whiteness and flew to Mansarovar, a lake in Tibet, supposed by the Indians to be the natal place of those beautiful birds. The leper saw that the water possessed marvellous healing and cleansing properties, and at once determined to test its efficacy on himself. He left his basket and crawled into the water. The leprosy at once disappeared from the whole of his body, except one finger by which he had held on to a branch of the ber tree on the margin. Not only had the leprosy disappeared, but he who had hitherto been a cripple was restored to health and the splendour of manly beauty, and he calmly awaited the return of his darling and faithful spouse from her mendicant excursion. On arriving, her consternation knew no bounds. In the perfect proportions of the man who stood before her, she could not discover her husband, the recent crippled and maimed leper, and she shrank from his embrace with all the indignation of outraged virtue. In vain did he essay to explain to her the cause of his metamorphosis. She interrupted his narrative with tears and imprecations. Her belief was that the stranger before her had killed her husband and now presented himself as an unholy lover in her helplessness and bereavement. The quarrel waxed hot between husband and wife. She refused to accept his statements, and he felt mortified at the incredulity of his hitherto peerless spouse. Remonstrance and argument had no effect on her, and feminine obstinacy temporarily triumphed. With ceaseless objurgations and motions of divine vengeance, she hastened from the presence of the man she believed guilty of such enormity to mourn her darling leper in some remote and forlorn solitude. Some villagers who had accidentally seen the occurrence bore witness to the fact that it was really the same man she had brought in her basket. The lady still remained sceptical. On this they told her that Guru Ram Das, a famous saint of God, was sitting under a tree not far distant, and if she went to him, he would resolve her doubts. Accordingly, she and her husband appeared before him. The wife, after compliments, said, "I am a virtuous woman. I left my leprous husband here, and he hath disappeared. This man, whom I know not, claimeth to be he, but I believe he is some deceitful person who hath a design on my virtue. I deem not that this pool possesseth such extraordinary efficacy as he allegeth." The Guru smiled and said, "Thou sayest this pool hath no such efficacy. It is in fact supreme among all places of pilgrimages. If thou even yet believe not, see, this man is affected with leprosy in one finger. Let him dip it into the water, and thou shalt see the result, and whosoever batheth in this tank shall obtain balm for his wounded spirit." The late leprous cripple put his finger into the water, and it was immediately healed. Thus was his wife doubly convinced that it was in reality her husband who had accosted her, and that the pool possessed miraculous virtues. The bare tree still on the spot is that under which she had left her crippled husband. The place is called Dukhbhanjani, or Destroyer of Sorrow. After the conjugal reconciliation through the kind offices of the Guru, the faithful couple embraced his religion, and the quondam leper and cripple assisted him in enlarging the tank, building to it flights of descending steps, and rearing on its margin imposing edifices for divine praise and prayer, worthy of the miraculous discovery of the water and its still more miraculous virtue. His Sikhs were rejoiced on seeing the Guru's participation in this miracle, and the magistrate of Patti was astonished on hearing of it. He recognized the Guru as a real saint of God, made him offerings, and prostrated himself before him. The magistrate was delighted on again beholding his daughter and seeing her husband restored to ordinary human shape and vigour. Having no son, he adopted his completely healed son-in-law. The Guru on that occasion composed the following: God is very dear to the hearts of those who have met the society of the saints and whose souls are fascinated by the Word. Repeat God's name, meditate on God. It is He who conferreth gifts on all. O my brethren, God fascinateth my soul. I sing God's praises. His servant is honoured by meeting the Guru and the society of saints. The service of God under the Guru's instruction is an ocean of happiness. Through it wealth, prosperity, and supernatural power fall at man's feet. They whose support is God's name utter it and are adorned thereby. They who feel angry on hearing the name are devoid of good fortune and possess a bad and worthless understanding. Thou mayest throw ambrosia to crows and ravens, but they will only satiate themselves with filth and ordure. The true Guru, the true speaker, is a lake of nectar, by bathing wherein crows become swans. Nanak, blessed and great, and very fortunate are they whose heart's filth is washed away by God's name under the Guru's instruction. The magistrate, on hearing this, became ashamed of his previous perversity. He made over all his property to his son-in-law, went to serve the Guru, and put himself under his instruction and spiritual protection. The Guru, telling his Sikhs that Santokhsar, the first tank he had undertaken, should be finished by his successor, set about completing his Amritsar, or tank of nectar, as a place of pilgrimage for his followers. He induced all his Sikhs to join in the work under Bhai Buda's superintendence, and engaged labourers to assist him. He said that the tank of nectar should be God's home, and whoever bathed in it should obtain all spiritual and temporal advantages. During the progress of the work, the hut in which the Guru first sheltered himself was enlarged for his residence. It is now known as Guru's Mahal, or palace. End of Section 30. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 31 of the Sikh religion is Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, Its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur McAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 4. Although the Guru's Sikhs, followers and admirers of every class, came to assist in the excavation of the tank, yet money was necessary to pay further labourers and maintain the Guru's kitchen. Accordingly, Bhai Buddha and the foremost Sikhs one day waited on the Guru and represented that further funds were necessary for the completion of the work. The Guru, after reflection, decided to send his agents to different countries to spread the Sikh religion and also collect the offerings of the faithful. Such agents were called masands. In the time of the Afghan kings, nobles were styled Masnad-e-Ali. Hence the word Masnad was employed as an ordinary appellation of courtiers. From its frequent use, it was changed in the mouths of Sikhs to Masand. The Guru was called Sacha Padshah, or the true king, so his agents were styled Masands. For some time after their appointment, they sent large sums to the Guru, but they afterwards became a generally dishonest body of men, not contributing to the Guru's treasury and grasping power as opportunity offered. An aged couple went to the Guru and prayed him to grant them the favour of a son. He replied that a son was not recorded in their destiny. They said they knew that, but they had come to him to reverse the decree of fate. The Guru then informed them that 4 sons were to be born to himself, but he would give them one of them and content himself with 3. After this, Bhagtu was born to the aged couple. Some yogis who had previously visited the Guru thought they would return to him to ascertain whether the extension of his fame had filled his heart with pride. They were delighted at finding him possess the same humility, the same suavity, and the same toleration of indignities as before. They then begged him to give them instruction. Full of self-abasement, the Guru uttered the following: "The heart coveteth golden women, and sweet to it is worldly love. Man turneth his mind to palaces, mansions, horses, and other pleasures. O my Lord God, how shall I be saved who think not on Thee? O my God, such base acts have been mine. Thou, O God, who possessest excellences and art compassionate, mercifully pardon all my sins. No beauty is mine, no high birth, and no manners. What dare I without merit say in Thy presence, since I have not uttered Thy name? We sinners shall be saved with the Guru. This is the true Guru's favour. God gave all men souls, bodies, mouths, noses, and water to use. He gave them corn to eat, clothes to wear, and pleasures to enjoy. He who gave them is not remembered by man. The brute thinketh that he hath made them all himself. Whereas it is Thou, O Searcher of hearts, who hast made all things and pervadest them. What can we poor creatures do? This is all Thy play, O Lord. Humble Nanak, purchased in the market, is a slave of the slaves of God." On the text that no one can be relied on except God, the Guru uttered the following: "Some rely on their friends, their sons and their brothers. Some rely on their marriage relations and their sons-in-law. Some, for a special object, rely on their king and their headman. But I rely on God, who is everywhere contained. My reliance is on God. God is my prop. I have no party or faction except God. I sing His manifold and unnumbered praises. What man relieth on is perishable. He who relieth on what is false shall repent on it. The man who doeth base things shall not be lasting. My reliance is on God, than whom none is more powerful. All other reliance is an illusion of Maya. The pagans burn for mammon. They suffer transmigration and lose their game. I rely on God, who adjusteth everything in this world and the next. Lust, wrath, avarice, worldly love, and pride have increased, and on account of the quarrels resulting from these deadly sins, there are many factions in this age. God causeth him to whom He is merciful to meet the society of the saints. My partisan is God, who hath destroyed all other partisans. They who feel false worldly love sit down and form factions. They guess the faults of others and increase their own conceit. As they sow, so shall they eat. Nanak's reliance is on the faith of God, which conquereth the whole world." The Guru then, turning to his Sikhs, counselled them to consult God in all undertakings, and He would render them assistance. "Whatever work you desire to do, tell it to God, and He will accomplish it. The true Guru beareth true witness to this. By the company and munificence of the saints you shall taste nectar. Destroyer of fear, kind one, preserve the honour of Thy slave. Nanak, sing God's praises, and thou shalt find Him though unseen to the world. Put aside lust, wrath, falsehood, and slander. Renounce mammon and cease to be proud. Renounce lust for woman, renounce worldly love. Then shalt thou obtain the Bright One in this dark world. Renounce ideas of honour or dishonour, and love of sons and wives. Renounce greed and desire, and fix thine attention on God. Nanak, he in whose heart the True One dwelleth, shall by means of the true Word be absorbed in God's name. One Tirath went to the Guru to be instructed how he could free himself from his sins and obtain mental peace. The Guru replied, "Ever speak the truth, than which there is nothing more meritorious. The true Guru will ever assist him who speaketh the truth. God is truth, and he who speaketh truth shall be absorbed in him." Three Sikhs, Bishan Das, Manak Chand, and Puru, went to visit the Guru and begged him to give them instruction for their own salvation and that of their families. The Guru bade them serve Sikhs and induced their relations to do likewise. Bishan Das, Manak Chand, and Puru were further directed to consider their families as God's gift and repeat with them the Creator's name. The Guru instructed Maiya, Jap, Kanaiya, and Tulsa to love the Guru's hymns beyond their own affairs. Whenever you read the Guru's hymns, keep your attention on their meaning and never allow your minds to wander. As a sick horse is curbed to receive medicine, so must the mind be restrained for the purpose of receiving the Guru's hymns and their advantages. Withdraw your minds from evil and reflect on what the Guru said and what is due to yourselves. 7 Sikhs named Dharamdas, Dugardas, Deepa, Jetha, Sansari, Bulla, and Tirath asked the Guru to tell them how they could be saved. He replied as follows: "In the first place, abandon mental pride, adopt humility, slander not, eschew vice, serve out of your own resources the Sikhs who visit you. Cheerfully give them food and clothing, grant their requests and refuse them not. When a Sikh hath an important work in hand, join him and pray for him. And if you see that it cannot be accomplished without money, collect subscriptions for him from every quarter, and at the same time contribute yourselves. Bring a Sikh work to completion, and you shall obtain the essence of happiness. Whenever there is a congregation of the holy, cause the word of God to be adequately preached and sung. Go devoutly thither in the evening and the morning, and imbue your minds with love. To the best of your ability, rear to God a beautiful temple, and appoint thereto a priest who is competent to expound his word. Let the wayfarer ever be fed, whether by one Sikh or by many together. Remember the name, and you shall obtain indescribable spiritual advantage therefrom. Serve the holy, than which there is no greater work of charity. By attending to these instructions, you shall obtain happiness in this world and dwell near your Guru in the next." While the tank was being excavated, dwellings arose in the vicinity for the accommodation of the Guru's Sikhs, visitors, and workmen, and in time a beautiful city was constructed, which was at first called Ramdaspur, or the city of Ramdas, and finally Amritsar, as it is now known. Sahari Mal, the Guru's first cousin, came from Lahore specially to invite him to grace his son's marriage with his presence. The Guru represented all the difficulties there would be were he to leave Amritsar. Sikhs were daily coming to see him and receive instruction, and it would be improper for him to neglect his duty as Guru. In the second place, wherever he went, he was accompanied by a large crowd of followers, and it would not be right to impose the burden of feasting them all on the parents of the bride. In lieu of himself, the Guru consented to send one of his sons. He addressed Prithi Chand, generally known as Prithia, but he made excuses. He said that he had never before been separated from his father, and he did not wish to leave him now. He represented how important it was that he should remain at home to take charge of the offerings and to ensure that they were not misappropriated. It was also necessary for him to attend the Guru's kitchen and take care that strangers received due attention. The Guru replied that his own business was never interrupted, and some other Sikhs would willingly undertake Prithia's duty. Prithia finally urged that he dreaded the turmoil of weddings and should feel unhappy if he went. Prithia had two motives of his own for refusing. He was in charge of the offerings and was able to furtively set aside much wealth for himself. If he went to Lahore, this illicit gain would fall to someone else. The time, too, was approaching for the selection of a Guru in succession to his father, and he apprehended supersession during his absence. The Guru then addressed his second son, Mahadev, who was a religious enthusiast and heeded not sublunary affairs. He replied that he had no relations or connections in the world, and That being the case, why should he entangle himself in any such enterprise? The Guru then addressed himself to his youngest son Arjan, who, when not in attendance on his father, was constantly engaged in devotion, who was possessed of all saintly qualities, and regarded no wealth or worldly advantages. The Guru asked him to go with his relation to Lahore, and after the wedding remain at the temple there to give religious instruction to the Sikhs. Arjan replied that he only desired his father's pleasure. It was but a wedding and an occasion of rejoicing, but even were it a mission which involved danger of life, he would go all the same and gladly obey his father's orders. The Guru was well pleased, and again directed him to tarry some time in Lahore and not return until he had received a written invitation. While there, whatever offerings Arjan should receive were to be consigned to his kitchen to feed the poor and the stranger, so that none should be sent away hungry. Before his departure, his mother went to call him in the early morning and asked him to repeat God's name. This was preparatory to giving him the maternal advice and uttering for him the prayer which he subsequently versified in the following hymn: Ever repeat the name of that God who hath no end or limit. By remembering him all sin is removed and ancestors are saved. O my son, this is thy mother's blessing. May God never forget thee for a moment, and do thou ever repeat the name of the Lord of the world. May the true Guru be merciful to thee, and mayest thou love the saints. May God's preservation of thine honour be thy raiment, and singing his praises thy daily food. Ever quaff the nectar of God's name. Mayest thou live long, and may the remembrance of God afford thee endless delight. May joy and pleasure be thine. May thy desires be fulfilled, and mayest thou never feel anxiety. Let thy heart become the bumblebee, and God's feet the lotus for thee. Nanak, attach thyself to them with the delight the chatrik findeth in raindrops. End of section 31. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 32 of the Sikh Religion, Its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, Its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MacAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part A. One day, in conversation with his Sikhs in Lahore, Arjan expressed the regret he felt at his long separation from his father. They accordingly suggested that he should write to him for his recall. Arjan was pleased with the suggestion and said, "Although the Guru appeareth to have forgotten us, we have never forgotten him." Upon this he addressed the following to his father: "My soul longeth for a sight of the Guru. It crieth like the chatrik for raindrops. My thirst is not quenched, and I have no rest without a sight of the dear saint. I am a sacrifice. I am a sacrifice to the sight of the Guru, the dear saint." He then sent this quatrain by a Sikh to the Guru. When the Sikh reached Amritsar, the Guru was taking his afternoon repose. Prithia recognized the messenger as the servant who had accompanied Arjan to Lahore. He called him and asked if he had brought a letter. He replied that he had, and unsuspectingly delivered it. Prithia, on reading it, became filled with jealousy. He knew he could not have written the verses himself, and he feared that, if the Guru saw them, he might appoint Arjan as his successor. He therefore concealed the letter and sent a verbal letter in his father's name, telling Arjan to remain in Lahore and not return until he was sent for. Arjan, on receiving this message, knew it had been sent by Prithia and not by his father the Guru, and on questioning the messenger discovered what had occurred. He then wrote a second quatrain and dispatched it with strict orders to deliver it only to the Guru. It was as follows: "Thy face is beautiful. The sound of thy words giveth composure. It is long since I have seen my Lord. Blessed is the land where thou dwellest, O my saint, friend and Lord. I am a sacrifice. I am a sacrifice to the holy Guru, my friend and Lord." Prithia was lying in wait for the messenger, and forcibly took possession of Arjan's second letter. On reading it, he became more incensed than before. In his father's name he sent a second message: "Remain at Lahore for some time yet, and come not without orders. I will myself shortly go to fetch thee." Prithia instructed the servant to take the message quickly, or the Guru would be angry with him. What Prithia really feared was that if the servant delayed in Amritsar, the Guru might come to know the deceit that was being practiced. The servant, on reaching Lahore, told Arjan how Prithia had taken possession of the letter. On this Arjan wrote and dispatched a third quatrain to his father: "When I was separated from thee for a ghadi, it seemed an age. When shall I now meet thee, O my beloved Lord? I cannot pass the night, and sleep cometh not without beholding the Guru's court. I am a sacrifice. I am a sacrifice to that court of the true Guru." On this letter Arjan took the precaution of writing number 3, so that his father might know that 2 other letters had previously been dispatched. Arjan on this occasion gave urgent instruction to the messenger that the letter should only be handed to the Guru himself. Prithia, as before, was waiting to intercept the third letter. The messenger was also on his guard, and on seeing Prithia hid himself. Prithia could not be for ever on the watch. When he took to his private office for reflection, the messenger took the opportunity to approach the Guru and give him his son Arjan's letter. The Guru, on seeing it, noticed that it bore the number 3, but only this one letter had reached him. The messenger told him what had previously occurred, whereat the Guru was much incensed. Prithia, who did not wish to remain long absent, arrived by the time the messenger had finished his narrative. The Guru asked Prithia what had become of the first 2 letters. He replied that he did not remember where they had been put. He would search and bring them. The Guru thrice asked him if he did not know where the letters were, and thrice he swore by the Guru's holy feet that he had no knowledge of them. Upon this, the Guru, reading his secret thoughts, told him that the letters were concealed in his coat pocket at home. The Guru sent a servant to Prithia's house with a request to his wife to send Prithia's coat, which was hanging on a peg on the wall. The servant brought the coat, and in its pocket were found the 2 missing letters. Bhai Budha then, by order of the Guru, proclaimed Prithia's villainy to the whole assembly. Prithia was thoroughly ashamed, and found no retreat in subterfuge and no pardon in apology. The Guru said, "Prithia's deception hath been laid bare before the Sikhs. A trial hath been made as to whether he is noble or base, obedient or disobedient to the Guru." The Guru then at once dispatched Bhai Budha to Lahore with a carriage to bring Arjan home with all possible speed. After Arjan's arrival and obeisance to his father, the Guru remarked to him that he had previously sent 3 quatrains and suggested him to write a 4th that the hymn might be complete. On this he extemporized the following: "It is my good fortune to have met the holy Guru, and I have found the immortal God in my own home. May I serve thee and never again be separated from thee for an instant. Nanak is thy slave. I am a sacrifice, and my soul is a sacrifice unto thee. Nanak is thy slave." On hearing this, the Guru was highly pleased and embraced his son. He then addressed him the following brief but pregnant words. Guru Amar Das declared that the Guruship was a reward of merit. As only he who is lowly and humble-minded may lay claim to it, I grant it to thee. Saying this, the Guru sent for 5 paise and a coconut, placed them before Arjan, and descending from his throne, seated him on it in presence of the whole assembly. Bhai Budha affixed the tilak or mark of spiritual sovereignty to Arjan's forehead, and he was publicly proclaimed Guru amid universal manifestations of delight. Guru Ram Das said, "Guru Arjan hath become the world's Guru, and as one lamp is lighted from another, so the Guru's spirit hath passed unto him and will dispel the darkness of the world." When Guru Arjan went to embrace his mother, he said, "All my anxieties have been removed. Having earned the true name of God, I have come home." He then composed the following: "The wealth of God's name hath become my devotion, the wealth of God's name my penance, the wealth of God's name my food. May I not forget for a moment him whom I have obtained in the company of the saints. O mother, thy son hath come home to thee with profit. I possess God's wealth walking, God's wealth sitting, God's wealth waking and sleeping. God's wealth is mine ablutions, God's wealth my divine knowledge. I fix mine attention on God. God's wealth is my raft, God's wealth my boat. It is God's wealth which shall take me across. God's wealth hath caused me to forget my worldly anxiety. God's wealth hath removed my doubts of salvation. From God's wealth I have obtained the 9 treasures. I have come into the possession of God as wealth. I may eat and spend this wealth without exhausting it. It will abide with me in this world and the next. God loaded a treasure and gave it to Guru Nanak. My mind is imbued with God's love. Prithia, whose anger knew no bounds, addressed offensive language to his father, and then informed Bhai Budha that his father had acted improperly. The Guruship was his own right, yet it had been given to his youngest brother. He vowed that he would remove Guru Arjan, seat himself on the Guru's throne, and the Emperor himself would admit the justice of his claim. The Guru addressed Prithia the following by way of remonstrance: Why, O my son, quarrel with thy father? It is sin to quarrel with him who begot thee and reared thee. The wealth of which thou art proud belongeth to no one. In a moment shalt thou abandon the pleasures of sin, and then shalt thou repent. Repeat his name, who is thy dear Lord, thy Master, and thy God. The slave Nanak giveth thee instruction. If thou hearken unto it, thy regrets shall depart. Notwithstanding this remonstrance, Prithia continued to use offensive language to the author of his existence. Fine mercy thou hast shown me. Thou hast conferred the Guruship on thy youngest son and told me falsehoods. Thou hast told me to repeat God's name, practice what thou preachest, and let Arjan, who hath been honoured by thee, also heed thine instructions. Guru Ram Das then uttered the following: They render God hearty worship, on whose forehead such destiny was recorded in the beginning. How can one be jealous of those whom my God, the Creator, assisteth? Meditate on God, O my soul, meditate on God. He is the remover of the troubles of every birth. God is the beginning bestowed on his saints, the ambrosial storehouse of saintship. The fool who trieth to rival them shall have his face blackened both in this world and the next. They are saints, they are worshippers, to whom God's name is dear. God is obtained by their service. Ashes shall be thrown on the slanderer's head. He in whose house this occurreth knoweth what is proper, as Guru Nanak, the world's Guru, and reflect on it. In the case of the 4 Gurus, none hath ever obtained the Guruship by revilings. It is by God's service the Guruship is obtained. When Prithia still continued to insult his father, the latter ordered him out of his sight and said, Thou art a Meena. My Sikhs will not obey thee, and will never associate with thee. Bibi Bhani then painfully called to mind the words of Guru Amar Das, namely, Thou hast dammed the clear flowing stream of the Guruship, and consequently great trouble and annoyance shall result. While this unpleasant scene was being enacted, night came on, and Guru Arjan, his mother, Bhai Budha, and all the Sikhs went to pay their respects to Guru Ram Das. Guru Ram Das announced that he could not always abide with them, that his end was approaching, and that he would go to die in Goindwal. At his departure, so many Sikhs gathered round him that it was difficult for them to obtain a sight of him. He addressed them some parting words of instruction of the priceless value, and taking Arjan with him, set out for Goindwal. On arriving at Goindwal, Guru Ram Das bathed in the Bawali and had interviews with his 2 brothers-in-law, Mohan and Mahuri. The next day he prepared a great feast, at which everyone ate his fill. The following morning, before day, the Guru again bathed, and having repeated the preamble of the Japji and the Asa Ki War, began to meditate on Guru Amar Das. When day dawned and his devotions were at an end, he entrusted his Sikhs to Guru Arjan, directed him to complete the tanks at Amritsar, and repeated for him the main tenets of Sikhism by which he charged him ever to abide. Bibi Bhani, knowing that these injunctions were the signals of her husband's death, begged him to take her with him on his final journey. He bade her abide in the world for some days, and then she should meet him. Guru Ram Das's soul was borne to the celestial regions on the 3rd day of the light half of the month of Bhadon, Sambat 1638, AD 1581. The bard Mathura composed the following on his death. Guru Ram Das, who was pleasing to God, went to God's city. God gave him a throne and seated him on it. The demigods, on receiving thee, O Ram Das, were pleased and sang victory to thee. During thy life the sins of the demons trembled within them, and they fled. The sins of those who received Guru Ram Das's instruction were cut away. He gave the umbrella and sovereignty of the earth to Guru Arjan. End of Section 32. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 33 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part B. Hymns of Guru Ram Das. Sri Rag. Praises of the Guru. When the Name is obtained, the mind is satisfied. Without the Name, accursed is life. Let some holy friend who meeteth me point out to me God, the Lord of excellence. I would be quartered for him who showed me the Name. O my beloved, I live by meditating on the Name. Without the Name I could not live. O my true Guru, implant it in me. The Name is a priceless jewel. The perfect true Guru possesseth it. By applying myself to the service of the true Guru, he bringeth forth and displayeth the jewel of the Name. Blessed are the very fortunate who come to the Guru and meet him. They who have not met the true Guru are unfortunate and subject to death. They shall again wander in birth and be placed in terrible filth. Approach not those in whose heart is the pariah wrath. The true Guru is a tank of nectar. Very fortunate are they who come to bathe therein. Their impurities of every birth depart, and the pure Name is implanted in them. The slave Nanak, by fixing his attention on the true Guru, hath obtained the highest dignity. The excellence of the Name is obtained through the Guru. Let me sing God's praises. Let me proclaim God's praises. Let me utter God's praises, O Mother. The holy man who repeateth his praises is my friend. With him I will sing God's praises. When I pierced the diamond of my heart with the diamond of divine knowledge, the deep colour of the Name appeared. O my God, let me sing thy praises, that my soul may be gratified. My heart thirsteth for God's name. May the Guru be pleased to grant it me. Dye your hearts with the love of God, O ye very fortunate, and the Guru will be pleased to confer on you favours. I am a sacrifice to that true Guru, who lovingly fixeth the Name in my heart. Without the true Guru, God's name is not found, even though one perform hundreds of thousands and millions of ceremonies. Without good fortune, God is not found, even though He dwell in our homes and be for ever near. Because a screen widely separateth Him from those in whose hearts there is the pain of ignorance and superstition. Without meeting the true Guru, man becometh not gold. The perverse sink like iron, while the boat is hard by. God's name is the boat the true Guru provideth. How shall we go on board? He who walketh according to the will of the true Guru shall sit in the boat. Hail, hail to the greatly fortunate persons, O Nanak, whom the true Guru blendeth with God. Man, even though silly, may be blended with God by piety. This hymn was composed by Guru Ram Das when, after his marriage, he was invited to make some request. Sri Rag chant. The girl is silly. How shall she behold God in this world? When God is merciful, the holy learn the affairs of the next world. The holy learn the affairs of the next world and ever meditate on God. Woman shall then roam happy among her companions and triumphantly swing her arm in God's court. What balance of Dharmaraja's account shall remain after repeating God's name? The girl, even though silly, shall behold God in this world through the Guru's instruction. The marriage is ended, my father. I have found God under the Guru's instruction. The Guru hath dispelled the darkness of ignorance and lit the lamp of divine knowledge. The Guru hath lit the lamp of divine knowledge, darkness is dispelled, and I have discovered the precious jewel of God's name. The malady of pride hath departed, sorrow hath fled, and I have cured my pride under the Guru's instruction. I have obtained as my spouse the Deathless One, the Imperishable, who shall never die or be born. The marriage is ended, O my father. I have obtained God under the Guru's instruction. God is very true, my father. When God's saints meet, the marriage procession is beautiful. She who repeateth God's name shall be happy in this world, and be really beautiful in the next. In the next she shall be very beautiful, who in this world hath remembered the Name. Profitable are the whole lives of those who under the Guru's instruction have conquered their minds by throwing the dice of God's name. By meeting God's saints my work hath prospered. For my spouse I have obtained the joyful being. God is very true, my father. When God's saints meet, the marriage procession is beautiful. My father, give me God as a gift and dowry. Give me God as my raiment. Give me God as my glory, that my work may succeed. By devotion to God the marriage is easy. The giver gave me the gift of the true Guru's name. The glory of God hath filled the earth's continents and the universe. This dowry of the Name cannot be confounded with others. Any other dowry the perverse may display is false pride and worthless gilding. My father, give me God as a gift and dowry. My father, woman, on meeting her beloved God, extended the vine. God, who is in every age, ever setteth a-going the Guru's race. In every age increase the true Guru's race, who under his instruction meditate on the Name. God shall never be destroyed. What he giveth ever increaseth. Nanak, the saints and God are one. By repeating God's name, woman is adorned. My father, woman on meeting her beloved God extendeth the vine. End of Section 33. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 34 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MacAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part C. Sri Rag Ki War. True men eat the bread of labour, the false and the deceitful live by begging. Thou didst create all things, O Lord. Thou givest sustenance to thy creatures. Some live by deceit and fraud, and drop from their mouths falsehood and deception. Thou hast subjected creatures thereto. Thou doest what pleaseth thyself. To others thou hast explained the truth and given unfailing stores thereof. The food of those who remember God is profitable. They who remember him not stretch out their hands to beg. There is none to beg from except God, the universal benefactor. Every one belongeth to thee. Thou art every one's. Thou art the capital stock of all, and beg of thee, ever supplicate thee. He to whom thou givest hath obtained everything. Thou art distant from some, and to others thou art near. Except thee there is none to beg from. Let some one investigate this in his mind. All praise thee. Thy door is open to the holy. The Guru in a vision presented himself at God's door. I, a minstrel of the Lord God, went to his door. God from within heard my cries, and called the minstrel into his presence. Having called the minstrel, he asked him for what object he had come. Thou ever bestowest gifts, merciful Lord. Grant me to meditate on thy name. Nanak, God the giver caused me to repeat his name, and clothed me with a robe of honour. Mujj. The advantage of the society of the saints. I meditate on God's excellences and name, and in company with the saints I cause his name to dwell in my heart. The Lord God is an inapprehensible, but his delights are obtained on meeting the true Guru. Blessings on those men of God who know him. I shall go and ask them to tell me of God. On meeting the men of God, I will shampoo their feet, rub and wash them, and drink the divine essence. The true Guru, the giver, made fast in me God's name. Very fortunate am I who have obtained a sight of the Guru. In uttering the true ambrosial name which is received from the perfect Guru, I drink nectareous essence. O God, cause me to meet the society of the saints, the true beings. On meeting them, I shall meditate on God's name. Nanak, may I under the Guru's instruction hear of God, speak of Him, and regale myself with His name. The Guru shows the one God who pervades all things, but is distinct from them. Come, my sisters, meet me, my dear ones. I am a sacrifice to her who shall show me my beloved. On meeting the society of the saints, I have found God the friend, and am a sacrifice to the true Guru. Whithersoever I look, there is the Lord. Thou pervadest every heart, thou searcher of hearts. The perfect Guru hath shown me God who is with me. I am ever a sacrifice to the true Guru. There is but one breath, one matter, and one light in all things. One light pervadeth all things, but is distinct in each. There is no light equal thereto. By the favour of the Guru, the one God hath been seen. In everything I am a sacrifice to the true Guru. Nanak speaketh words of nectar, which are dear and pleasing to the hearts of his disciples. The perfect true Guru giveth instruction. He is beneficent to others. Majh ki War. Some of the attributes of the Guru. He in whose heart there is truth hath the true Name, and uttereth the truth with his mouth. He walketh in God's way himself, and causeth others to do so. If there be a river on our way, it will wash away filth. By bathing in a pond, more filth attacheth to one. The true Guru, who meditateth on God night and day, is the perfect river. He is saved himself with his family, and by giving God's name, he saveth the whole world. The slave Nanak is a sacrifice to him who repeateth God's name, and causeth others to do so. End of Section 34. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 35 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MacAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part D. Gauri. Ram Das is happy beyond expression in the society of Guru Amar Das. The beggar is happy when a householder giveth him alms. The hungry man is happy when he taketh food. The disciple is happy and contented when he meeteth his Guru. Grant me, O Lord, a sight of Thee, in whom is my hope. Mercifully fulfill my desires. The chakwi is happy when she seeth the sun. She then meeteth her beloved, and all her sorrow departeth. The disciple is happy when he beholdeth his Guru. The calf is happy when it sucketh milk. Its heart is glad when it seeth its dam. The disciple is happy when he beholdeth his Guru. All other affections are worldly and false, and shall perish like false and temporary gilding. The slave Nanak is happy and contented with the true Guru. Happy is the family in which a religious son has been born. As the mother nourisheth her fetus in the hope of its being a son, when he is big, he will earn and allow me money which will give me enjoyment. So the man of God loveth God, and God will render him assistance. O my God, I am foolish. Preserve me, O my Lord. Thy servant's praise is Thy glory. They to whose hearts God's praises are pleasing, rejoice in their palaces and homes. When they sing God's praises, they taste all sweets. The man of God is the saviour of his family. He shall deliver 21 generations, yea, the whole world. Whatever hath been done by God and in His glory. O God, all creatures are Thine. Thou pervadest them all, and causest them to worship Thee. O God, Thou causest them to acquire the treasure of devotion, and Thou Thyself apportionest it. I am Thy slave, purchased in a shop. What skill hath this creature? Wert Thou, O God, to seat me on a throne, I should still be Thy slave. Cause me, even as a lowly grass cutter, to utter Thy name. Nanak is God's slave, and magnifieth Him. The earnings of the holy. The husbandman laboureth and hopeth in his heart, while yoking his plough and making his efforts, that his sons and daughters shall eat the fruits of his labour. So the man of God uttereth God's name, that God may at last deliver him. O my God, accomplish my salvation, foolish though I am. Apply me, O God, to the work of serving the true Guru. As the merchant who taketh horses for traffic earneth money and entertaineth hopes that his wealth shall increase, so the man of God uttereth the name of God, and is happy in uttering it. The shopkeeper collecteth wares, and sitting in his shop dealeth in them. His wealth is false, its display is false, he is wrapped up in falsehood. The man of God collecteth divine wealth, and taketh God with him as his viaticum. Love of wealth and family is a snare when man turneth away from God. He who is the slave of God's slaves shall be saved under the Guru's instruction. Nanak, they who ponder on the Name under the Guru's instruction shall be enlightened. The fervour of the Guru's devotion. The desire for God is ever in my mind and heart. O God, how shall I behold Thee? He who loveth God knoweth the pleasure thereof. God is very dear to my mind and heart. I am a sacrifice to my Guru, who hath caused me to meet my Creator, from whom I had been separated. O God, I, a sinner, have taken refuge at Thy gate. My understanding hath no merit. Mercifully cause me to meet Thee some time. O God, my demerits are very great, and could never be numbered. It is Thou who possessest merits. It is Thou who art compassionate. It is Thou who pardonest when Thou pleasest. I am a sinner, but Thou hast saved me by association with the Guru, who, by teaching me God's name, hath delivered me. O my true Guru, how can I recount Thy merits? When Thou speakest, I become astonished. Can any one else preserve a sinner like me as the true Guru hath preserved and saved me? Thou, O Guru, art my father. Thou art my mother. Thou art my relation and companion. O God, my true Guru, Thou knowest of Thyself my condition. I was wandering astray. No one cared for me when the great God placed me a worm near the true Guru. Hail, hail to the slave Nanak's Guru, by meeting whom all my sorrow and trouble are at an end. The Guru ever cherishes his disciples. As a woman having given birth to a son nourisheth him and keepeth her eye on him, in and out of doors she feedeth him and continually fondleth him, so the true Guru watcheth over his disciple who beareth love and affection to God. O my God, we are silly children of Thine. Hail, hail to the Guru, the true Guru, the teacher who hath rendereth us wise by divine instruction. As the white-robed bird, circling and flying in the heavens, keepeth her thoughts on her young left behind, and ever remembereth them in her heart, so the true Guru claspeth to his heart that disciple who loveth God. God preserveth the tongue made of flesh, and blood within the scissors of the 30 or 32 teeth. Let any one consider if the tongue or the teeth have any power of themselves. Know that everything is in the power of God. When men calumniate the saints, God preserveth his servants' honour. My brethren, let no one suppose that any one hath any power. Every one acteth as God causeth him to act. Old age, death, fever, headache, snake bite are all in the power of God. None of these may occur without God's will. Nanak, ever so meditate on God's name in thy heart, that at the last moment it may deliver thee. The advantage of meeting the true Guru. He is called the true Guru, whose presence maketh the heart glad. Then mental doubt vanisheth, and the supreme dignity is obtained. How shall I meet my beloved true Guru? I every moment make obeisance that I may meet him. God mercifully causeth me to meet my perfect true Guru. On applying the ashes of the true Guru, his slave's desires are fulfilled. Meet such a Guru, as shall implant God's service in the heart and teach it to thee. Thus shall there never be any deficiency. God's profit shall ever be obtained. He in whose heart there is divine pleasure hath no love for mammon. Nanak, if such a Guru be found, man shall be saved, singing God's praises. The debt men owe to the Guru. This mind of many whims resteth not for a moment. It roameth and wandereth in every direction. They who are very fortunate have found the perfect Guru, who giveth God's spell by which their minds become fixed. O God, we are slaves of the true Guru. The brand hath been branded on our foreheads. We owe a great debt to the Guru. He conferred on us many kindnesses and favours, and rescued us from the dangerous ocean of fear. They who have not the love of God in their hearts plot deceitful schemes. As paper is spoiled by water, so the perverse are ruined by pride. We know nothing of the past or future. As God placeth us, so shall we stand. O Guru, be merciful to us sinners, saith the slave Nanak. We are thy dogs. The Guru's happiness on meeting God. O my Gobind, thou art in my heart, thou art in my heart. Because thou art in my heart, I am dyed with thy love. O my Gobind, the sportive Hari is with me, yet cannot be seen. But the perfect Guru hath shown me the unseen. O my Gobind, all poverty and misery depart from him to whom the name of God hath been made manifest. The highly fortunate have obtained God, the highest dignity, O Gobind, and are absorbed in his name. O my Gobind, my beloved, hath anyone seen the Lord God with his eyes? My mind and body are very sad, O my Gobind. Without God, I, a woman, waste away. On meeting the saints, O my Gobind, I have found my God, friend and companion. God, the light of the world, hath come to me, O my Gobind. I pass the night in happiness. Ye saints, cause me to meet my God the friend. My soul and body hunger for him. I cannot live without seeing my beloved. Separation from him weigheth upon my heart. God is my friend and beloved. The Guru introduced me to him, and my heart revived. The desires of my soul and body have been fulfilled. O my Gobind, on meeting God my heart expanded. I am a sacrifice, O my Gobind, my beloved. I am 100 times a sacrifice unto thee. In my soul and body is the love of the beloved. O my Gobind, O God, preserve my capital. O my Gobind, let me meet the true Guru, the mediator who will show me the way and cause me to meet God. Through thy mercy, O my Gobind, I have obtained God's name. The slave Nanak hath entered thine asylum. The Guru's longing for God. I suffer from separation from God's name and from God. May I meet my Lord, my friend, and obtain happiness. On beholding the Lord God I survive, O my mother. His name is my companion and brother. Ye dear saints, sing the praises of my Lord God. Ye greatly fortunate ones, repeat the name under the Guru's instruction. God and God's name are my life and soul. By repeating the name, man hath not again to cross the terrible water. How shall I behold the Lord God, my soul and body's desire? Present me to God, ye dear saints, and heart loveth him. By the Guru's word, the beloved King is obtained. Ye greatly fortunate ones, utter his name. In my soul and body I have a great longing for God. Ye saints, cause me to meet Gobind, who is my Lord God. By the true Guru's instruction, the name is ever manifest to me. So the desires of the slave Nanak's heart have been fulfilled. Man ought to keep watch over his refractory mind. End of Section 35. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 36 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur McAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part E. Gauri Karale. O refractory soul, who comest from afar, how shalt thou meet God? When I found the Guru by perfect good fortune, the Beloved came and embraced me. O refractory soul, meditate upon the true Guru. O refractory and wretched soul, meditate on God's name, and when thy account is called for, God himself will release thee. O refractory soul, once very pure, the filth of pride hath now attached to thee. The beloved spouse was present in thy house. When thou didst separate from him, thou wert punished. O refractory soul, my dear, search for God within thee. He is not found by contrivance. The Guru showeth him in thy heart. O refractory soul, my dear, day and night, fix thine attention on God. When thou findest God through the Guru, thou shalt go home and obtain the painted palace. O refractory soul, my friend, abandon hypocrisy and greed. The hypocritical and the greedy shall be smitten. Death will punish them with his mace. O refractory soul, who art dear to me as my life, rid thyself of the filth of hypocrisy and superstition. The perfect Guru is a tank of divine nectar. When the company of saints is obtained, filth departeth. O refractory soul, my dear, listen only to the instruction of one guide, the Guru. Worldly love may be widely diffused, yet at last nothing shall go with one. O refractory soul, my friend, take God's name for thy travelling expenses, and thou shalt obtain honour. Thou shalt have a dress of honour in God's court, and God himself will embrace thee. O refractory soul, he who obeyeth the Guru shall under the Guru's instruction accomplish his work. Make obeisance before the Guru, O slave Nanak, and he will blend thee with God. O refractory soul, gifted with the power of reflection, meditate and carefully look. They who dwell in forests are tired of wandering in them, while they may under the Guru's instruction behold the Beloved in their own hearts. O refractory soul, remember God. O refractory and wretched soul, the perverse are caught in a great net, while the pious are delivered by remembering God's name. O refractory soul, my beloved, search for the true Guru in the society of the saints. Attached to the society of the saints, meditate on God, and he will go with thee. O refractory soul, greatly fortunate are they on whom the one God looketh with favour. If God deliver thee, thou shalt be delivered. Worship the true Guru's feet. O refractory soul, my beloved, think of the light within thy body. When the merciful God conferreth a gift on thee, the Guru will show thee the name which is the 9 treasures. O refractory soul, thou fickle-minded, lay aside thy perverse cleverness. Remember God's name, and at the last moment he will grant thee deliverance. O refractory soul, very fortunate shalt thou be if thou treasure the gem of divine knowledge. The divine knowledge of the Guru is a sword held in the hand to destroy the god of death. Within thee is a treasure, O refractory soul. Yet thou wanderest abroad in doubt, searching for it. When thou meetest the perfect Guru, thou shalt find God, the friend who is with thee. O refractory soul, ever remember the love of God, and thou shalt be imbued with it. By serving the Guru and remembering his instruction, the dye of God shall never fade. We are birds, O refractory soul, and God immortal being in a tree. Nanak, very fortunate are the pious who, remembering the Name, find the tree. End of Section 36. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 37 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Ram Das. Chapter 5, Part F. Gauri Ki War 1. A message of love. Hear, my friend, this message of love. Mine eyes are fixed on thee. When the Guru is pleased, he blendeth me with the Friend, and then the slave Nanak sleepeth in peace. Men should not be jealous of the Guru, who is specially favoured of God. Know that he is great whom the Lord maketh great. God pardoneth him who is pleasing to him. If any one try to rival him, he is an insensate fool. He whom the true Guru causeth to meet him singeth his praises and dilateth on them. Nanak, true is the True One. He who knoweth him is absorbed in the truth. The Guru is the soil in which religion is planted. The true Guru is the field of religion. As man planteth in it, so he gathereth fruit. The Guru's Sikhs plant ambrosia and obtain God as their ambrosial fruit. Their faces are bright in this world and the next, and they shall obtain a true robe of honour in God's court. Some whose hearts are base ever act basely. As they plant, so the fruit they eat. When the true Guru, the banker, looketh at them and assayeth them, their gilding is all laid bare. As they meditate, so they obtain, and so God maketh them known. Nanak, the Lord God himself pervadeth both the good and the bad. He ever beholdeth the acts of all. Man's regeneration must depend on himself. Man hath one mind. The one God pervadeth it. As the mind turneth, such is its acceptance. Man may say what he pleaseth. It is what he hath at home he eateth. Without the true Guru there is no understanding, and pride departeth not from the heart. The spiritually proud are miserable and hungry. They put out their hands and beg from door to door. Falsehood and robbery remain not concealed. Gilding and adulteration are laid bare. The true Guru meeteth, and God cometh to him who was so fated in the beginning. As iron touched by the philosopher's stone assumeth a brighter colour, so doth man when he meeteth the company of the saints. O slave Nanak's Lord, thou guidest men as thou pleasest. Reference to the fate of those who calumniated Guru Amar Das. Him who slandereth the perfect true Guru, the Creator will punish. The slanderer shall not have such an opportunity again. As he soweth, so shall he eat. He shall be taken away to terrible hell with blackened face and a halter on his neck like a thief. But if he return to the Guru's protection and meditate on God's name, he shall be saved. He who obeyeth not the Guru's order is perverse and robbed by mental ignorance and poisonous mammon. In his heart is falsehood, and he deemeth every one false. God hath fastened unworthy disputes on his neck. He talketh a great deal, but what he saith pleaseth nobody. He wandereth from house to house like an abandoned woman. Whosoever meeteth him beareth the mark thereof. The holy man keepeth aloof from him. He leaveth him to go and sit with the Guru. He who denieth the Guru is base. O elect, he hath lost all his capital and profit. At first, O Nanak, men recited the Shastras and the Veds, but the words of the perfect Guru have superseded them. The magnification of the perfect Guru is pleasing to his disciples. The perverse shall never more have this opportunity. The world, which is God's field, yields ambrosial produce to the Guru's disciples. The whole world is God's field. God himself causeth the tillage to be performed. The holy man hath made God's grace germinate. The perverse have lost their capital. Every one cultivateth for his own advantage. If it please God, he causeth the field to germinate. The Guru's disciples sow ambrosia and obtain God's name as the ambrosial fruit. Death, the mouse ever gnaweth the produce, but God the Creator killeth and expelleth it. With God's love the tillage succeedeth, and the harvest heap is produced by his favour. God hath removed all trouble and anxiety of those who have meditated on him. The slave Nanak hath worshipped the Name. He is saved himself and saveth the whole world. End of section 37. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 38. Of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, Its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MacAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part G. The Guru encourages his Sikhs to hear his instruction. True Sikhs sit with the true Guru, and the false toil and find no place even by search. Are their faces bright to whom the words of the true Guru are not agreeable? Nay, they wander, contemned of God. God causeth their acts to prosper who have the wealth of His name within them. They cease to be subject to others. God sitteth near to assist them. When God is on our side, every one is on our side, and every one who seeth us praiseth us. Kings and emperors, all the work of God, come and salute God's servant. Great is the greatness of the perfect Guru. He who greatly serveth God obtaineth unequalled happiness. God hath given the perfect Guru a permanent gift, and what He hath given ever increaseth. No slanderer can endure His greatness. God Himself destroyeth the slanderer. The slave Nanak uttereth the praises of the Creator, who ever preserveth His saints. Guru Ram Das addressed the following to the pretended Tap or penitent who perpetually slandered Guru Amar Das. Thou didst not at first show respect to Guru Amar Das. Thy excuses now are of no avail. How can the wretched perverse man who wandereth halfway obtain happiness by mere words? He who loveth not the true Guru cometh with a lie and departeth with a lie. A pretended Guru leads man astray. When the master is naked and hungry, whence shall his servant eat to repletion? If the master have anything in his house, the servant can get it. How can he get what there is not? If a Sikh serve a false Guru, and death afterwards call on him for an account, such service shall be hurtful. Nanak, perform service for the great God, a sight of whom is profitable, and no account shall afterwards be taken from thee. The following was addressed to Guru Amar Das's enemies. Nanak, the saints consider and the four Veds tell that what the saints utter with their mouths cometh to pass. In the extension of the word, this appeareth manifest. All people hear of it. The fools obtain not happiness. They are at enmity with the saints. The saints desire virtues for them, but they burn with pride. What can the wretches do, since their fate was evil from the beginning? They whom the Supreme Being smiteth have none to succour them. It is real justice that they who bear enmity to those who are without it should perish. They whom the saints curse shall wander again and again. When a tree is cut up by the roots, its branches wither. A magnification of the Guru. The whole world come and fall at the feet of those to whom God giveth greatness. We may fear if we do anything by ourselves, but it is the Creator who putteth forth His might in all things. Lo, my brethren, this is the arena of the true Beloved, who by His power hath made every one subject to Him. The Lord God preserveth His saints and blackeneth the faces of slanderers and enemies. The greatness of the true Guru ever increaseth. The saints themselves ever sing God's praises. Night and day repeat the Name, ye disciples of the Guru, and through the true Guru implant the Creator in your hearts. O Guru's Sikhs, know that the true Guru's hymn is most true. The Creator Himself hath caused him to utter it. The beloved God maketh bright the faces of the Guru's Sikhs, and the whole world wisheth victory to him. Nanak is God's slave. God preserveth the honour of His servants. The fate of those who deny the Guru. They who leave the Guru, who is present with them, shall find no entrance into God's court. Let any one go and meet those slanderers, and he will see their faces pale and spat upon. They who are accursed of the Guru are accursed of the whole world, and shall ever be vagrants. They who deny their Guru shall wander about groaning. Their hunger shall never depart, they shall ever shriek from its pangs. No one heareth what they say, they are ever dying of fear. They cannot hear the true Guru's greatness. They cannot find room in this world or the next. Whoever goeth to meet those cursed by the true Guru shall lose the remnant of his honour. They who were cursed by the Guru become leprous. Whoever meeteth them shall catch the leprosy. O God, allow me not to see those who turn their hearts to mammon. There is no escape from what the Creator Himself wrote in the beginning. Slave Nanak, worship the Name. Nothing can equal it. Great is its greatness, and it ever increaseth. Guru Ram Das continues to magnify Guru Amar Das. Great is Amar Das's greatness, who was appointed in the presence of Guru Angad. The world boweth to him, all fall at his feet. His praise filleth the worlds. The continents and the universe bow to him. He on whose forehead the perfect Guru put his hand became perfect. The Guru's greatness ever increaseth, none can equal it. Slave Nanak, the Creator Himself appointed Guru Amar Das and will preserve his honour. Evil shall be the fate of the Guru's slanderer. He who slandereth the perfect true Guru shall find his position difficult in the world. Death shall seize and throw him into terrible hell, which is a pit of sorrow. No one will hear his cries and lamentations. He shall weep in pain. He hath cast away all his chances in this world and the next. His capital and profit, all hath he lost. He shall become as an oilman's ox, which his master yoketh when he riseth in the morning. God ever seeth and heareth everything. Nothing is concealed from him. As man sowed in a former life, so shall he reap in this. He to whom God showeth mercy shall wash the feet of the true Guru. He shall be saved through the true Guru, like iron attached to timber. Slave Nanak, meditate on and repeat God's name, and thou shalt be happy. Animate the inanimate nature, congratulate the Guru and his family. That land where my true Guru sitteth groweth green. The creatures who saw my true Guru have become happy. Hail, hail to his father! Hail, hail to his family! Hail, hail to the good mother who gave him birth! Hail, hail to the Guru who worshippeth the Name! He is saved himself, and he saveth those who saw him. O God, mercifully cause me to meet the true Guru. The slave Nanak will wash his feet. The man who is separated from God is compared to one who suffers from a malignant ulcer. They who have a malignant ulcer within them know what torture is. They know what separation from God is. I am ever a sacrifice unto them. O God, unite me with a friend, and I will place my head as a sacrifice beneath his feet. I am a slave to the slaves of those disciples of the Guru who perform his work. Moist with God's dye are the robes of those who are imbued with God's deep dye. Nanak, mercifully cause me to meet the Guru, and I will sell my head to him as a price of God's name. The holy and unselfish man deserves congratulations. O beloved, the holy man who meeteth the society of the saints in which God is praised, and who preacheth instructions for the good of others, is worthy of gratulation among mortals. The Guru excommunicates the hypocritical apostates. The apostates go and bow to the Guru, but their hearts are base and filled with falsehood. When the Guru saith to them, "Rise and work, my brethren," they go and squeeze themselves in somewhere like cranes. The true Guru abideth among his disciples. He picketh out and expelleth the monkeys. They sit here and there, conceal their faces, and being counterfeit may not associate with the holy. There is no food for them there. They go and eat filth like sheep. If you desire to feed the apostate, he will spew and vomit poison on you. O God, give me not the company of the apostate. He is accursed of the Creator. He who made this play beholdeth it. The slave Nanak remembereth his name. End of section 38. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 39 of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Ram Das. Chapter 5, Part H. God protects the true Guru. The true Guru who claspeth God to his heart is inscrutable. None can touch the true Guru on whose side God is. Devotion to God is the true Guru's sword and armour by which the torturer, death, is destroyed. God himself is the protector of the true Guru, and will save all who follow him. Him who meaneth evil to the true Guru, the Creator himself will destroy. This is the word of the true God's court. The slave Nanak uttereth this prophecy. Whether asleep or awake, man should remember God. What is sleeping? What waking? The holy are the acceptable. They who never forget God are perfect and distinguished. They obtain the true Guru from the Merciful One, and fix their thoughts on him night and day. May I continue to meet such persons and obtain honour at God's gate. Nanak, bright are the faces of those who ever as they awake remember God, and who repeat his praises whether sleeping or waking. The Guru has found God and his mediator. Searching for God in my soul and body, I have found the God whom I desired. And I have found the Guru, the mediator, who hath blended with him. There is no alliance between God and mammon. They who love mammon have no faith in the holy man. They come and go and wander in transmigration, and have no happiness even in their dreams. They act falsely, they speak falsely. Attached to falsehood, they become false. Worldly love is all trouble. Through trouble man perisheth, through trouble he weepeth. There is no union between worldliness and love of God, however all may desire it. They whose treasure houses contain meritorious acts are happy under the Guru's instruction. The Guru's instruction is communicated from one man to another. The pious propagate God's vine. It beareth God's fruit which epicures enjoy. Utter the name of God which containeth endless delights. Utter God's name and praises under the Guru's instruction, so shalt thou destroy the serpents which are death's myrmidons. God implanted his worship in the Guru. If the Guru be pleased, he conferreth it on his disciple, my brethren. Religious ceremonies produce pride. On account of them the way is not known. They are idle as the dust the elephant throweth on his head after bathing. He whose fortune is very great and very exalted shall, O Nanak, by uttering the true name become true and pure. The fourth Guru was fond of hearing the hymns of his predecessors sung. On one occasion, when he ordered a séance, the musicians were not ready. Then the following hymn was composed: How long will they take to search for anklets and cymbals? When will someone play the rebeck? While a messenger is going and they are coming, a short time must elapse. In the meantime, let me repeat God's name. Such devotion hath been produced in my heart, that without God I cannot live for an instant, as a fish dieth out of water. How long will it take to find 5 or 7 singers? When will someone raise the voice of song? In tuning the instruments and selecting the music, some little time must elapse. Meanwhile, let my soul sing God's praises. When will someone dance and stretch forth his feet? When will someone wave his hands? In stretching out one's hands and feet, some little delay must take place. Meanwhile, let my heart remember God. When will someone satisfy the people? Yet by satisfying people no honour is obtained in heaven. Nanak, ever meditate on God in thy heart, then shall every one congratulate thee. The Guru ardently desires to behold God. O my mother, show me my beloved God. I cannot remain for a moment without him. On beholding him, I am as pleased as a camel with creepers. My soul through divine love hath renounced the world with the object of beholding God the Friend. As the bumblebee cannot abide without the lotus, so can I not abide without God. Preserve me in thy sanctuary, O beloved Lord of the world. Fulfill my desires, O Lord God. Nanak's soul is glad when God showeth himself even for a moment. End of section 39. Read for you by Chiquito Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 40 of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part I. Asa Chant. The supreme importance of the Guru's instruction. Through love of the Guru's instruction, I have obtained real life during life. The Guru gave me God's name and implanted in it my heart. He implanted in it my heart, and all doubt and trouble have departed. Under the Guru's instruction, I have meditated on the unseen and inapprehensible. I have obtained the pure and supreme dignity. On singing the true Guru's hymns, the voice of the unbeaten strain ever resoundeth. Nanak, God the Giver bestowed on me a gift. My light hath blended with His. The perverse die in their perversity, saying their property was their own. They attach their hearts to skin-covered filth, which cometh for a moment, and in a moment departeth. They attach their hearts to skin-covered filth, which is fleeting as the dye of the safflower. They go now to the east, and now to the west, as a potter's wheel revolveth. In sorrow they eat, in sorrow they amass and enjoy, they extend their increase of sorrow. Nanak, if man enter the Guru's asylum, he shall easily cross the dangerous ocean. My God is good, inaccessible, and unfathomable. I asked my merchant, the true Guru, for God as my stock in trade. I asked for God as my stock in trade, and bought His name. Since then I sing God's praises, and they are pleasing to me. I have banished sleep and hunger and become absorbed in divine tranquillity. Dealers of one description come and take away God's name as they profit. Nanak, it is they who offer their souls and bodies to the Guru who acquire it. The great ocean of God is full of jewels upon jewels. They obtain them to whom the Guru's words are pleasing. They to whom the Guru's words are pleasing obtain the priceless unrivalled jewels. They who have obtained Thy unrivalled name, O God, have their storehouses filled with Thy service. I have churned the ocean of the body. I have seen a rare thing come to view. The Guru is God and God is the Guru. Nanak, there is no difference between them, my brethren. The following hymn is in effect a glorification of the Sikh religion, which sprang up in the Kal, or in the fourth and last age of the world. The Kal age is therefore here made out to be the best of all the four ages. In the Sat age all men were contented. Religion had four legs, and men meditated on God. They sang of God with heart and soul, acquired the greatest happiness, and every heart possessed a knowledge of God's excellences. A knowledge of God's excellences was men's wealth. He was their salvation, and the pious became illustrious. At home or abroad there was but the one God and no other. Men fixed their attention on Him. His name was their helper. In His court they acquired honour. Then came the Treth age. Though worldliness began to press on men's hearts, yet they practiced continence and austerities. One leg of religion dropped off. Three legs remained. In men's minds and hearts wrath was inflamed. A great poisonous fermentation in men's hearts and souls was wrath. Kings made war and suffered in the conflict. Men's hearts were attacked by diseases of egotism and pride. Their conceit and arrogance increased. If my God be merciful, the poison shall depart by the Guru's instruction and God's name. The Dwapar age came. Men wandered in doubt. God created the milkmaids and Krishan. Penitents practiced not penances. Men initiated sacrifices and offerings and performed many religious ceremonies. They performed religious ceremonies. The second leg of religion dropped off, and two legs remained. Many heroes engaged in great wars. Through pride they ruined themselves and others. He who is compassionate to the poor caused man to meet the sainted Guru, and on meeting him impurity departed. When God made the Kal age, religion had lost three legs, and only the fourth remained. They who acted according to the Guru's instruction obtained God's name as their medicine, and in singing His praises obtained divine rest. The season for the praises of God arrived. His name was magnified, and the field of God's name germinated. If in the Kal age any other seed than the Name be sown, men lose all their profit and capital. Nanak, when the true Guru hath been found, he showeth the Name in man's heart. God's attributes. My great God is inaccessible, inapprehensible, eternal, pure, formless. His condition cannot be described. Immeasurable is His glory. My God is invisible and illimitable. God is invisible, illimitable, and boundless. Only He knoweth Himself. What can this poor creature utter, O God, which could be a description of Thee? He on whom Thou castest Thy glance of favour meditateth on Thee under the Guru's instruction. Thou, great God, art inaccessible, inapprehensible, eternal, pure, formless. Thou art the primal male, the boundless Creator. Thy limit cannot be ascertained. Thou art uninterruptedly within every heart, and in everything art Thou contained. Within the heart is the Supreme Brahm, the Supreme God, whose end cannot be found. He hath no form or outline. He is unseen and inapprehensible. But under the Guru's instruction, the invisible becometh visible. He who beholdeth God shall ever be happy day and night, and shall be easily absorbed in His name. Thou art the primal male, the boundless Creator. Thy limit cannot be ascertained. Thou art the true Supreme Being, ever indestructible. O God, Thou art the treasury of excellences. O God, Thou alone art the Lord. There is none besides. Thou art the omniscient Being. Thou art omniscient and most exalted. There is none so great as Thou. Thine is the word. Thou pervadest everything. What Thou doest cometh to pass. The one God is contained in everything. The pious behold Thee, O God, on repeating Thy name. Thou art the true Supreme God, ever indestructible. O God, Thou art the treasury of excellences. Thou art the Creator of all. Thy glory is everywhere. Thou settest everything in motion as Thou pleasest. Thou settest everything in motion as Thou pleasest. Everything is subject to Thy word. Everything is subject to Thy word. When it pleaseth Thee, man obtaineth greatness therefrom. If man obtain wisdom from the Guru's instruction and efface himself, he shall be absorbed in the word. Thy word cannot be grasped. It can be obtained from the Guru's instruction. Nanak, he who obtaineth it shall be absorbed in the Name. Thou art the Creator of all. Thy glory is everywhere. Thou settest everything in motion as Thou pleasest. The Guru's soul is thoroughly saturated with God's love. Mine eyes are wet with God's nectar. My soul is dyed with His love. God applied His touchstone to the heart and found it brightest gold. Through the Guru, my soul and body are dyed with a deep colour. The slave Nanak hath perfumed himself with the musk of God's love, and his whole life is supremely blessed. The word of God's love, which is a pointed arrow, hath smitten his heart. He who feeleth the pain of love knoweth its torment. He who in life is dead is said to have obtained deliverance while alive. Nanak prayeth, O God, may the true Guru cause me to meet Thee, that I may cross over the dangerous world. I, ignorant and stupid, have sought Thine asylum. May I obtain the love of God. I have obtained God from the perfect Guru. I pray for the service of God alone. My soul and body are pleased with Thy word. I repeat it with endless pleasure. On meeting the saints, Nanak hath obtained God in their association. O Thou compassionate to the poor, hear my supplication, O God, Lord, King. I pray for the protection of God's name, and God putteth it into my mouth. O God, it is Thy function to love Thy saints and preserve their honour. The slave Nanak hath sought Thy protection. Thy name hath saved him. The Guru had found God, who is a diamond in the golden fortress of the body. On searching and searching for God, the friend, I have found Him under the Guru's instruction. It is known that God is in the golden fortress of the body. God is a diamond and a jewel with which my soul and body are pierced. Having been very fortunate at my birth, I have obtained God. Nanak is kneaded with His essence. I, a young woman, continually arise and inquire the road to my spouse. The true Guru, reminding me of God's pain, putteth me on His road. The Name, the antidote to the poison of pride, is the support of my soul and body. The slave Nanak prayeth, O God, grant me to meet the true Guru, who hath already met Thee. Through the Guru, O beloved, come to me, who have been so long separated from Thee. My soul and body are very sad. Mine eyes are moist with God's love. O Guru, show me God the Beloved. On meeting Him, my soul shall be happy. Nanak, God hath appointed me, a fool, to perform His duty. The Guru's body is moistened with God's nectar, and he sprinkleth it on his disciples. They whose hearts are pleased with the Guru's words drink their fill of nectar. The Guru being pleased, I have obtained God, and I shall no longer be buffeted. Nanak, the man of God and God have become one. God ever preserves His saints. God produced saints in every age, and continueth to preserve their honour. God destroyed the wicked Harnakhas and saved Prahlad. God turned His back on the proud and the slanderers, but showed His face to Namdev. Nanak hath so served his God that He will deliver him at last. It is said that the following hymn was composed by Guru Ram Das before he had become Guru. Guru Amar Das was highly pleased with this and other compositions of his saintly son-in-law. Come home, O my beloved soul, which hath wandered afar. O Guru, cause me to meet God, my beloved, that He may dwell in my heart. Thou shalt be happy, O my dear, if God show thee mercy. Nanak, when the Guru is pleased, my dear, he will blend man with God. I did not heartily taste God's love, my dear, so the thirst of my heart hath never been slaked. My dear, it formeth ever new desires. Youth is ever passing away, my dear. The god of death stealeth away the breath. Nanak, she is a fortunate wife, my dear, who claspeth God to her heart. Mine eyes are refreshed by the Beloved, my dear, as the chatrik with his raindrops. On drinking the raindrops of God, my dear, my heart is comforted. Separation from God kept me awake, my dear, and I could by no means sleep. But now Nanak, by loving the Guru, hath obtained God, the friend, my dear, and is at rest. In the month of Chet, my dear, beginneth the pleasant season of spring. But without my beloved, my dear, the dust was flying about my court. There was hope in my heart, and I was waiting, my dear. Both mine eyes are fixed on Him. But now Nanak, on seeing the Guru, is happy, my dear, as a mother on seeing her child. My dear, the true Guru hath repeated to me tales and legends of God. I am a sacrifice to the Guru, my dear, who hath caused me to meet God. God hath fulfilled all my desires, my dear. I have obtained the fruit of my heart desired. When God is pleased, my dear, the slave Nanak is absorbed in the Name. Without the love of my beloved God, I rejoice not. How shall I find the Guru through whom I may behold my beloved? If the bounteous God cause me to meet the great Guru, I shall meet him. Nanak, he on whose forehead it was so written in the beginning, shall find the Guru, my dear. End of section 40. Read for you by Chiquito Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 41 of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur McAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part J. Gujari. On Guru Amar Das. The saints of God are the best. Their speech is the best. What they utter is for others' advantage. God mercifully saveth those who hear their words with faith and devotion. O God, grant me to meet the dear saints of God. The true Guru, the perfect Guru, dear to me as my life, will save us sinners. Very fortunate are the pious whose support is God's name. Under the Guru's instruction they obtain God's nectar, God's essence, and a storehouse of devotion. They who have not obtained a sight of the true Guru, the true man, are unfortunate, and shall be punished by death. They shall be born again as dogs, swine, and donkeys, and God will punish them as wilful murderers. O compassionate to the poor, have mercy on thy servant and save him. The slave Nanak hath sought thine asylum. If it please thee, O God, thou wilt save him. The Guru prays never to forget God's name. Mercifully so dispose my heart, O God, that I may night and day continually meditate on thy name. God is all comfort, all excellence, all wealth. By uttering his name, all misery and hunger depart. O my soul, God's name is my companion and my brother. Under the Guru's instruction, let me sing the praises of God's name. It will be at the last hour my helper and deliver me in God's court. O God, the searcher of hearts, thou thyself art the giver. Thou didst mercifully infuse the longing for thee into my soul. The longing of my heart and soul is for God. He hath fulfilled my longing since I have entered the asylum of the true Guru. Through meritorious acts I have obtained human birth, but without the Name it would be accursed and useless. He who is without the Name shall eat sorrow as his relish. His countenance shall grow pale, and men shall spit on his face. God give glory in his court to those who have entered his asylum. Nanak, God welcometh and applaudeth his servant, embraceth him, and blendeth him with himself. The advantage of the Name and of the Guru's instruction. He who through the true Guru hath found the Lord God, hath made him dear to me by his instruction. My soul and body have become refreshed and happy, since through good fortune I have meditated on God's name. My brother, may someone come to meet me who will implant God's name in my heart. He is my beloved, my life, my soul, and my body. All would I give him who would tell me of my Lord God. I have obtained patience, faith, and God from the Guru's instruction. May he ever apply my mind to God and his name. Nectar droppeth into the mouth of him who uttereth the true Guru's nectareous words and hymns. Pure is the Name, no soil attacheth to it. Under the Guru's instruction, repeat it with devotion. The man who hath not found the wealth of the Name is unfortunate and dieth again and again. Meditate on God, the root of joy, the life of the world, who giveth to all men, and thou shalt be happy. Thou art the giver. All creatures are thine, saith the slave Nanak. Thou pardonest the pious and blendest them with thyself. Guru Ram Das expresses his humility and his faith in family life. Mother, father, son are all made by God. God established all their relationships. All my strength is as nothing before God, O my friend. The body, soul, and person are all in God's power. God himself inspired his saints with faith. Even in their families they abide as hermits. When hearty love is established with God, then what man doeth is pleasing to him. Whatever work God hath appointed us to do, that we do with his permission. Nanak, they whose devotion is pleasing to my Lord, fix their attention on God's name. Dev Gandhari. The first two lines of the following embody an inquiry made by Sangatia, a Sikh. The remainder of the hymn is the Guru's reply. Tell me in what street I shall find my beautiful one. O saints of God, show me the way, and I will follow you. The word of the Beloved comforteth the heart. Good is this custom which hath been established. She who, whether bent with age or of small stature, is pleasing to the Lord, is beautiful and becometh united with him. There is but one Beloved, all are his handmaidens. She who pleaseth him is good. What shall the poor wretch Nanak do? Let him walk in the way which pleaseth the Lord. The Guru has completely devoted himself to God. I have now come weary to God. Since I have come to thy protection, save me, O God, or destroy me. I despise men's artifices and praises. Whether one speak well or ill of me, I have humbled my body. God mercifully preserveth him who cometh to his protection. The slave Nanak prayeth, O God, preserve mine honour, who have sought thy shelter. Bihagara chant. The Guru encourages men to lead a religious life. They who think not on God's name, O my life, are perverse, foolish, and silly. They who think on worldly love, O my life, shall regret it at their final departure. The perverse, O my life, who are led away by sin, shall not enter God's court. Nanak, O my life, they who meet the Guru, who repeat God's name, and who are absorbed in it, shall be saved. All ye people, go and meet the Guru, O my life, who will fix God's name in your hearts. Make no delay in repeating God's name, O my life. Nobody knoweth whether he shall draw another breath or not. That time, that juncture, that curry, that moment are profitable, O my life, when God cometh into the mind. Nanak, by remembering the Name, O my life, death's myrmidons approach not. God always beholdeth and heareth everything. O my life, it is he who committeth sin who feareth. All fear departeth from him, O my life, whose heart is pure within him. He who hath faith in God's name is fearless, O my life, though all the hostile and the shameless slander him. They who have worshipped the perfect Guru Nanak, O my life, make all men bow at their feet. Ever worship such a God, O my life, as is the great Lord of all. They who have worshipped the one God with single mind, O my life, care for no one. By serving the Guru, God's palace is attained, O my life. All slanderers talk foolishness and give causeless annoyance. O my life, the Lord God hath written good fortune on that man's forehead in the beginning who meditateth on him. Bihagre ki War. It is God who performs all the agricultural and culinary operations by which man subsists. The following hymn is sung after Sikh entertainments. God himself is the soil, himself the tiller. It is he who causeth the corn to spring up and be ground. It is he who cooketh it. It is he who putteth the food into dishes and serveth it. It is he who sitteth down to eat it. He is the finger water. He giveth the toothpick. He holdeth the water to wash the mouth. It is he who ever seateth the saints at his banquet. It is he who dischargeth them. God causeth him to whom he is merciful to obey order. Vadhan's Guriyan. The following, in which the body is compared to a steed to be kept under subjection, is sung at marriages. The body is a steed which God created. Hail to human birth obtained by meritorious acts. Human birth is obtained by greatly meritorious acts. The body is fine gold, which by the Guru's instruction is dyed a rich colour. O God, a new colour. This body by which God's name is repeated is beautiful as adorned by his name. It is obtained by great good fortune. The name is its companion. O slave Nanak, it is God who created it. Having well reflected, put a saddle thereon. Mount it, sir, and thou shalt cross the dangerous ocean. The dangerous ocean in which there are many waves shall be crossed through the Guru's instruction. Very fortunate people, making God the boat, embark thereon and cross over. The pilot Guru ferrieth men over by the word. Him who night and day singeth God's love and God's praises, God the lover imbueth with his love. The slave Nanak hath obtained the rank of Nirvan, God's highest and best rank. The Guru hath put divine knowledge as a bit into the mouth, and applied God's love as a whip to the body. The pious man, who hath conquered his own mind, applieth God's love as a whip to his body. He obtaineth the word, fashioneth his unfashioned mind, and drinketh God's nectar. He who heareth the word which the Guru uttereth, dyeth his steed with God's colour, traverseth the great and difficult way, O Nanak, and crosseth over. God created the body of a fleet mare. The body by which God's name is repeated is blessed, is blessed. The body by which God's name is repeated, the result of prenatal acts, is to be congratulated and praised. Man, having under the Guru's instruction mounted his body as a mare, crosseth the difficult way and meeteth the primal joy. The perfect God hath arranged the marriage feast. A company of saints hath come at the marriage procession. O slave Nanak, I have obtained God as my spouse. The holy men meeting rejoice and utter gratulations. End of Section 41. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 42 of the Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is the LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur McAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part K. Surat Ki War. The relation of God to his servants. God loveth his slaves. God is a friend of his slaves. God is in the power of his slaves as a musical instrument in the power of the musician. God's slaves meditate on God and bear affection to the Beloved. Mercifully hear me, O God. May rain fall throughout the whole world. The praise of God's slaves contributeth to God's greatness. God is pleased with his own greatness when his slaves are congratulated. It is they who meditate on God's name. God and God's saints are the same. The slave Nanak is God's servant. O God, preserve his honour. He who has no faith in the Guru is stupid and deceitful. He in whose heart is spiritual ignorance, and who hath no faith in the Guru, hath but a poor understanding. He in whose heart there is deceit deemeth every one deceitful. Through his deception he is ruined. What is pleasing to the Guru entereth not his mind. He wandereth about for his own object. If God be merciful, Nanak shall be absorbed in his words. The fate of him who is accursed of the Guru. He who is accursed of the true Guru shall leave his home and wander for ever. He shall be followed by hootings, and his face shall be blackened in the next world. Incoherent words shall ever issue from his lips, and he shall die spluttering them forth. What if anybody do anything? He shall only obtain the result of his prenatal acts. Wherever he goeth, he shall be proved a liar. Falsehood pleaseth no one. Brethren and saints, behold God's graciousness. As man doeth, so shall he receive. This will be God's decision in his true court. The slave Nanak foretelleth this. Dhanasari. How man's impurities are removed. The rust of the sins of many births attaches to man, but when he joins the guild of holy men, it is filed away. So when gold is heated in the fire, its impurity is removed. Obedience to the Guru inculcated. We are totally blind, saturated with the greatest sins. How shall we walk in the Guru's way? May the true Guru, the bestower of happiness, mercifully take us under his protection. Sikhs of the Guru and friends walk in God's way. Faithfully obey what the Guru preacheth. Divine teaching is unique. Here, servants of God and brethren, serve the Guru very promptly. Tie up service to the Guru as thy travelling expenses to God. Think not of today or tomorrow. Saints of God, repeat his name. Saints of God, let us walk with God. He who repeateth God's name becometh as God, and meeteth God who spoteth. To repeat God's name is the longing of my heart. O God, dweller in the forest, have mercy. Thy slave Nanak prayeth, O God, cause me to meet the company of holy men and be the dust of their feet. Let God be ever in man's thoughts. Read of God, write of God, repeat God's name, sing God's name, and he will cause thee to cross the terrible ocean. Meditate on God in thy heart with thought and word, and so repeat his name that thou mayest be happy. Mentally repeat the name of God, the Lord of the world, and, O my friends, meet the company of the saints. Sing of God, the dweller in the forest, and you shall be happy day and night. When God cast a look of favour on me, then I made mental effort. By repeating God's name, I have been saved. O my Lord, preserve thy servant Nanak's honour. He hath entered thine asylum. Jait Sari. God is a diamond which the Guru has made his own for the benefit of others. A diamond or a ruby, however priceless or heavy, is without a purchaser, as a blade of grass. When the holy Guru, the purchaser, saw the jewel, he bought it for hundreds of thousands. God was concealed as a diamond in my heart. When God, compassionate to the poor, caused me to meet the saintly Guru, I assayed the diamond. In the house of the perverse is the darkness of ignorance. In their houses the diamond is not seen. The pagans die wandering in the wilderness. They have tasted of the poison of the serpent Mammon. O God, cause me to meet thy saint, the good man. O God, keep me under the saint's protection. O Lord God, accept me. I have hastened to thy side. What praise of thine can my tongue recount? Thou art great and inaccessible, the great being. The slave Nanak prayeth, O God, show mercy to me. O God, preserve me, who am sinking like a stone. Men are as silly children without the Guru. I am a child, foolish, stupid, and silly, and know nothing of thy state or condition. O God, be merciful, grant me the best understanding, and make me who am stupid wise. My mind is lazy and drowsy. O God, bring the holy Guru to meet me. Let me meet him, and the doors of my understanding shall open. Love the Guru every moment, O my heart, that God's name may become my love and life. Without the name I should die, O Lord, as a drunkard craveth for intoxicants. The hearts of those who have good fortune from the beginning love God. I worship at all times the feet of those who have made God dear to me. O God, my Lord, have mercy on me. Cause me, who hath long been separated from Thee, to meet Thy saint. Hail, hail to the true Guru, who hath implanted God's name in me. The slave Nanak is a sacrifice unto him. The repetition of God's name and praises secure salvation. O God, the mothers of those who keep not God's name in their hearts ought to have been barren. They who wander without the Name pine away and die in agony. O man, repeat the name of God who is within thee. God the merciful hath shown me mercy. When the Guru gave me divine instruction, my mind understood it. The praise of God in the Kal age holdeth the highest place. God is obtained through the true Guru. I am a sacrifice to my true Guru, who hath disclosed to me God's hidden name. A sight of the holy man is obtained by great good fortune. He removeth all sin. I have found the true Guru, who is a very clever merchant. He hath made me a partner in God's many attributes. They to whom the life of the world hath shown mercy have clasped him to their hearts. Dharmaraj in his court hath torn up my papers. The slave Nanak hath settled his account. Bairari. The position and occupation of the child in the womb. When the child reversed was praying in the pit of fire, God preserved him in the womb. Tilang. God is supreme and has no partner. All come by the Master's order. His order extendeth over all. True is the Lord, and true is all His play. Praise the True One. God the Master is over all. He hath no partner. Of whom shall I take account? God hath built His temple out of air, water, earth, and ether. He Himself abideth in the centre. Say what can be accounted false? Instruction for the faithless. The proud man of evil mind ever doeth fruitless work. When he practiseth deceit and falsehood, he thinketh he hath conquered the world. Such is his way in this life. He never remembereth God's name. In a moment everything that is false shall perish. O my mind, meditate on God. The time cometh not to thy memory when the torturer death shall seize thee. Nanak, God will redeem him in whose heart He mercifully dwelleth. Guru Ram Das's devotion to Guru Amar Das and his disciples. My friend, the Guru hath told me tales and parables of God. I am a sacrifice to my Guru. To the Guru I am a sacrifice. Come to me, Sikhs of the Guru. Come to me, beloved of my Guru. God's praises are pleasing to Him. I have obtained them from the Guru. To those who obey the will of the Guru, I am ever a sacrifice. I am a sacrifice to those who have beheld the beloved true Guru. I am ever a sacrifice to those who have served the Guru. O God, Thy name is Hari, because Thou effacest suffering. Thou art obtained by service to the Guru. Through his instruction is salvation. They who meditate on God's name are accepted. Nanak, I am a sacrifice to them, and ever offer myself for them. That, O God, is Thy praise which is pleasing unto Thee. The holy men who serve the Beloved obtain Him as their reward. God is with the souls of those who hold Him dear. They repeat and remember the name of the beloved God and live for ever. I am a sacrifice to the holy ones who have served the Beloved. They are saved themselves with their families and have freed the whole world. The Guru who hath served the Beloved God is blessed. The Guru who hath shown God's way hath performed merit, the greatest merit. The Guru's disciples who serve him are meritorious beings. The slave Nanak is a sacrifice unto them, and ever offereth himself for them. They are holy friends and companions. They are pleasing to God Himself. God in His court clotheth them with robes of honour and embraceth them. Grant me, O Lord, a sight of the holy men who meditate on Thy name. I will bathe their feet, stir and drink the dirt thereof. They who, while eating betel leaf and betel nut and dyeing their lips therewith, never think of God, shall be seized and taken away by death. But death shall never approach those who remember God's name and clasp it to their hearts. The Guru's Sikhs are dear to the Guru. God's name is a treasure. Some rare pious person knoweth this. Nanak, they who meet the true Guru shall enjoy the highest pleasure. The true Guru is the giver. Being pleased, he bestoweth favours. I am ever a sacrifice to the Guru who gave me the Name. The Guru who giveth God's love is congratulated and praised. As I behold the Guru, I am glad. The Guru is true. The Guru is the giver. The Guru's tongue uttereth nectar and is adorned with God's name. All the hunger of the Sikhs who hear and obey the Guru departeth. Men speak of God's way. Say, how shall we walk therein? Har Har is thy name, O God. Take Har with thee, O man, as thy travelling expenses. The pious who have adored God are wealthy and very wise. I am ever a sacrifice to the true Guru. I am absorbed in the Guru's word. Thou art Master, Thou art Lord, Thou art my Sovereign. If it pleases Thee, we perform Thy service. Thou art an ocean of merits. Thou art God of one face, and Thou art of many faces. Saith Nanak, whatever pleaseth Thee is good. End of Section 42, read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas.
Section 43 of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur McAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part L. Suhi. Instructions for the deceitful. If man, while publicly invoking God, ever practice deceit, his heart shall never become pure. He may day and night perform many ceremonies, but he shall not have happiness even in his dreams. Without the Guru possessed of divine knowledge, there can be no devotion. Unbleached clothes can never be dyed, however much all may desire it. The malady of the perverse departeth not, even though they perform lip service, penance, austerities, and fasting. Their internal malady is great pride. They are ruined by worldly love. He who while in a religious garb practiseth cunning, who alloweth his mind to wander in every direction, who is filled with pride and regardeth not the Word, shall wander in transmigration again and again. Nanak, he on whom God looketh with favour, understandeth, meditateth on the Name. By the Guru's favour knoweth the one God, and shall be absorbed in Him. Men of the lowest castes obtain salvation by devotion. He who even of low caste repeateth God's name, shall obtain the highest dignity. Ask Bidur, the son of a handmaiden, in whose house Krishan stayed. Hear the ineffable word of God, my brethren, by which all anxiety, pain, and hunger are removed. Men praise Rav Das, the tanner, who every moment sang the one God's praises. Though of fallen caste, he became the best. The four castes came and fell at his feet. The Khatris and Brahmins called Namdev, who loved God, a calico printer. But God turned his back on them and showed his face to Namdev. The 68 places of pilgrimage yield the palm of victory to the worshippers and saints of God. May the slave Nanak, through God's mercy, night and day touch their feet. The worship of God, the only permanent good, is inculcated. Where God is remembered, there He becometh a friend and helper. God dwelleth in the heart by the favour of the Guru. He is not otherwise obtained. Amass God's wealth, my brethren, so that God may assist you in this world and the next. God's wealth is earned in the company of the holy. God's wealth is not obtained elsewhere or by other effort. The holy who deal in God's jewels purchase the jewel of God's wealth. Dealers in glass acquire not God's wealth by idle words. God's wealth is jewels, ornaments, and gems. God's saints fix their attention on it at the suitable ambrosial hour. When God's wealth is sown at the suitable ambrosial hour, God's saints eat it, spend it, and it never faileth. Both in this world and the next, the saints who deal in God's wealth are congratulated. There is no fear for God's wealth. It ever remaineth immovable and permanent. It cannot be destroyed by fire or by water. It is not the prey of thieves or of death's myrmidons. Pickpockets cannot approach God's wealth, nor can the tax gatherer, Death, impose a tax on it. The apostates through sin have amassed sinful wealth, but not a particle of it shall go with them. In this world the apostate is miserable when wealth slippeth from his hands. The apostate shall not find entrance into God's court hereafter. The dealer in his wealth of God, O saints, is God himself, he to whom he giveth it, loadeth it, and taketh it away. This wealth of God shall never suffer deficiency. The Guru hath given this knowledge to the slave Nanak. Suhi Ashtapadi. The Guru's passionate desire to obey and serve God. I will sell myself to him who bringeth my dearly beloved to me. I desire to behold God. By God's mercy, the true Guru will cause me to meet him and meditate on his name. If thou give me happiness, O God, I will worship thee. Even in misery, I will meditate on thee. If thou give me hunger, even then I shall be satiated with it, and in its torture I shall feel happy. I would cut up my body and soul and dedicate them all to thee, or I would burn myself in fire. I would fan thee and draw thee water. What thou givest me I should eat. Poor Nanak hath fallen at thy door, O God. Thine acceptance of him will be to thy glory. I would take out mine eyes and put them beneath thy feet. Having wandered over the whole earth, I have gained this wisdom. If thou seat me near thee, I will still reverence thee. Even if thou strike me and thrust me away, I will still meditate on thee. If men praise me, then the praise is thine. If they slander me, even then I will not leave thee. If thou art on my side, men may say what they please. If thou forget me, I die. I am a sacrifice to the perfect Guru. Falling at their feet, I propitiate the saints. Poor Nanak is mad for a sight of thee. Suhi Chant. The following, which Guru Ram Das composed on the occasion of his marriage, is now an epithalamium of the Sikhs. 1. God by this first round hath ordained secular life. Accept the Word instead of Brahma and religion instead of the Veds, and God will free you from your sins. Hold fast to religion, meditate on God's name, and let it be fixed in your memory. Worship the true Guru, the perfect Guru, and all your sins shall depart. Very fortunate is man when God is near to his heart, then he feeleth composure and happiness. The slave Nanak hath given out the first round and made a beginning of the marriage. 2. In the second round God hath caused me to meet the true Guru. The fear in my heart hath departed, and the filth of my mind hath been washed away. I have obtained a pure state by singing God's praises and beholding Him before me. The Lord God, the soul of the world, is ever diffused and filleth every place. Within and without us is the one God. On meeting the saints, hymns of rejoicing are sung. The slave Nanak hath finished the second round and heard the strain of ecstasy. 3. God hath appointed the third round, and the pleasure and contempt of the world are produced in the mind. The saints have caused me to meet God, and I have found Him by great good fortune. I have found the pure God by singing His praises and uttering His hymns. I have by great good fortune found the company of the saints, wherein tales of the ineffable are told. The absorbing thought of God hath arisen in my heart, and I have repeated His name by the destiny recorded on my forehead. The slave Nanak hath given out the third round, and God's love hath been produced in his heart. 4. At the fourth round divine knowledge is produced in the heart, and I have obtained God. Under the Guru's instructions I have obtained a good disposition, and God is dear to my soul and body.
God is dear and pleasing to me. I meditate on Him night and day. By singing the praises of God's name, I have obtained the fruit of my heart desired. God hath finished the work, and woman's heart delighteth in His name. The slave Nanak hath given out the fourth round, and obtained God the imperishable. The Guru composed the following also on his marriage. The Lord God hath accomplished the work. He came to wed a holy bride. He came to wed a holy bride who thus found God. That bride is dear to her spouse. On meeting the saints, songs of rejoicing are sung. God Himself hath decorated the bride. Demigods, men, and heavenly minstrels have come in a body and formed a marriage procession never seen before. Nanak, I have found the true God, who never dieth or is born. End of Section 43. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 44 of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by Max Arthur McAuliffe. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part M. Bilawal Ashtapadi. Association with the holy and acceptance of their teachings are superior to the life of a yogi. By intercourse with the true Guru, the rings I wear are in my heart, and the instruction of the Guru I have applied as ashes to my body. I renounced family life and wandered in the forest, but my heart was not at rest even for a moment. After wandering, I returned home and fell at the feet of God's saints. Even the sannyasi who abandoneth his children conceiveth many desires in his heart. He conceiveth desire upon desire, and knoweth not that under the Guru's instruction man is freed from desires and is happy. When the wish for separation ariseth, man becometh a Digambar, yet his mind wandereth in every direction. He roameth about, but his thirst is not quenched. It is only when he meeteth the saints that he attaineth the abode of mercy. The Siddhs study many postures and earnestly desire wealth and the tricks of supernatural power. They are not satisfied or contented, nor doth peace enter their minds. It is by meeting the saints man is satisfied, and by God's name he obtaineth perfection. As God made all men on an equality, so they obtain salvation. God made the sources of production, human beings and animals of all colours and forms. He who taketh the saints' protection shall be saved. Khatris, Brahmans, Sudars, Vaisyas, the whole race of Chandals, Namdev, Jaidev, Kabir, Trilochan, the low caste Ravdas, the Karya, and those who met the company of holy men, such as the blessed Dhanna Jat and Sen, obtain God. God, to whom His saints are dear, protecteth their honour and accepteth them. Nanak, he who entereth the asylum of God, the life of the world, is mercifully preserved by Him. Gaund. Place all thy hopes in God. O man, if thou rest thy hopes on God, thou shalt obtain the fruits, however various, that thy heart desireth. God knoweth everything that passeth in the mind. He alloweth not man to lose a particle of his labour. O my soul, put thy hope in that Lord God who is contained in everything. O my soul, put thy hope in God, the Lord of the world. The hopes which are put in any other than God are fruitless and all in vain. The Guru is completely penetrated by God's love. My soul, like a thirsty man without water, greatly yearneth for a sight of God. The arrow of God's love hath pierced my heart. God knoweth my suffering, the pain within my heart. He who telleth me anything of my beloved God is my brother, is my friend. Join, my companions, sing the praises of my Lord, and adopt the counsel of the patient true Guru. Fulfil, O Lord, every desire of the slave Nanak. On beholding Thee, my mind is at rest. Ramkali. They who unselfishly meet the saint shall obtain their reward.
If I have very great good fortune, I shall have no delay in meeting the saint. God's saints are my excellent tank of nectar. By great good fortune shall man bathe therein. O God, apply me to the service of the saint. I will draw water, fan him, grind his corn, shampoo his feet, and put the dust thereof on my face. The saint of God who causeth man to meet the true Guru is very great and exalted. There is none so great as the true Guru. On meeting him, meditate upon God. They who enter the true Guru's protection obtain God, and he preserve their honour. Some people come for their own objects and sit in front of the Guru like cranes in the act of meditation. When the crane goeth into the society of the base crow, he putteth his beak into a poisonous carcass. Saith Nanak, O God, cause me to meet holy company, that meeting it I may be a saint of thine. Nat Ashtapadi. The advantage of holy company. O God, bathe me in the nectareous tank. The true Guru's knowledge is the best thing wherein to bathe. By obtaining it the filth of sin departeth. The advantages of holy company are very great. The courtesan was saved by teaching her parrot to repeat God's name. The touching of Krishan's feet took the hunchback to heaven. Ajmal bore love to his son and called out Narayan. His faith pleased my God's heart, and he smote and expelled the myrmidons of death. Man preacheth and dictateth to others, but practiseth not what he preacheth. But on meeting the company of the saints obtaineth staunchness of faith, and God's name saveth him. As long as the mind and body are healthy, man remembereth not God. When the house is on fire, is that the time for the waterman to dig a well from which to draw water? O man, associate not with the apostate who hath forgotten God's name. The word of the apostate stingeth like a scorpion. Leave the apostate far away. When love is bestowed, it increaseth greatly. Attachment to the holy regenerateth. They who accept the Guru's words as absolutely true are very dear to my Lord. According to our dealings in previous births, God's name becometh dear. By the favour of the Guru, the ambrosial juice of the Name is obtained. Man singeth and pondereth on it. O God, my jewel, my darling, all forms and colours are thine. Everything shall be according to the colour thou givest, saith Nanak. What is wretched man? God's word and the Guru are interchangeable terms. The word is the Guru, and the Guru is the word. In the word is the essence of ambrosia. The worshipper who obeyeth what the Guru's word teacheth shall be saved by the Guru in person. Ablutions and decorations are of no avail without listening to the Guru. Man continually washeth his body, and rubbeth it, and adorneth it. But the beautiful decorations of him whose heart accepteth not the words of my true Guru are all in vain. Maru Ki War 1. The Guru is potent to save under all circumstances. I will embark on the boat and proceed, however agitated be the sea. The true boat cannot be stopped if the Guru give encouragement. I will disembark at the landing place where the Guru is seen on the alert. Nanak, if I obtain God's look of favour, I shall be honoured in his court. Basant. The presence of God in every heart. As the light of the sun's rays is diffused, so is God the warp and woof contained in every heart. Man's life is ever decreasing, and he ought to remember God the Saviour. Night and day are both calling. Remember God in your hearts. He is the Saviour at last and for ever. O my soul, ever remember God. When man completely removeth the disease of sloth, he obtaineth God, and under the Guru's instruction singeth his praises. The obstinate die again and again of pride. They who are destroyed by the demon death shall go to the city. Basant Ashtapadi. The Guru preaches the necessity of controlling the mind. Child dwelleth in the city of the body. It will not rest even for a moment. We weary of our various efforts and struggles to restrain it, but yet it wandereth incessantly. My Lord,
bring the child to a fixed home. By meeting the true Guru, the perfect one is obtained. By repeating his name he is manifested. All men's bodies in which God's name dwelleth not are earth in graves. When the Guru causeth man to taste the water of God's name, he enjoyeth it and again reviveth. I have thoroughly examined and searched my body. The holy man showed me a sight. All the apostates were dying of searching abroad, while I, under the Guru's instruction, found God at home. God hath been compassionate to the poorest of the poor, as when Krishan went to Bidur's house. Sudama went to Krishan with love, upon which Krishan removed his poverty and rendered him happy. Great is the honour of God's name. My Lord himself hath bestowed it on me. If all the apostates were to practice slandering it, that would in no wise lessen it. God's name is his servant's praise, by which he obtaineth honour in every direction. The slanderer and the infidel cannot endure it. They have set fire to their houses. God's servant meeting another obtaineth honour, as virtue springeth from virtue. The men who are the slaves of my God are dear and beloved by me. The Creator is as the ocean. He is without limit. It is He who blendeth man with Himself. Nanak, the holy man is naturally blended with God, as water with water. Sarang Ki War. The following was addressed to a hypocritical fakir. Thou smearest thy body with ashes, but in thy heart is ignorance. Thou hast a patched coat, a wallet, and many sectarial garbs, but thou art evil-minded and proud. Thou hast never uttered the word of God. Thy heart is filled with the love of fleeting things. In thy heart are avarice and superstition. Thou wanderest a pagan. Saith Nanak, thou hast not remembered the Name and hast lost thy game. Hypocrisy cannot for ever be concealed. They who are clean outside, but in whose hearts is the filth of deception, practice falsehood and deception, and their falsehood becometh apparent. What is within cometh forth and cannot be concealed. He to whom falsehood and avarice shall attach, shall again enter the womb. Nanak, what man soweth he eateth, he obtaineth what the Creator destined for him. The fate of the slanderer. They in whose hearts is the enemy slander, cut their own noses, and cause others to cut theirs. They become very ugly and pained, and their faces ever appear black. When they rise in the morning, they take and steal others' property with God's name in their mouths. O God, associate me not with such. Preserve me from them, O God. Nanak, such perverse persons act according to their destiny and are unhappy. Man may be holy in his own home. Even in one's own house and one's own family, man may be absorbed in God. Nanak, they who are imbued with the Name are the true hermits. Men cannot be compelled to holiness. Service is not performed by calculation. What is so done is not acceptable. He who hath not a relish for the Word shall never love the True One. The obstinate person to whom the Guru is not dear shall come and go in transmigration. When he maketh one step forward, he retreateth 10. Men ought not to rail at Providence. Saith Nanak, why, O man, be angry with him who taketh thought for us, without whom we cannot live for a moment, and by forgetting whom we cannot succeed in any degree. In the rainy season, men obtain respite from outdoor occupation, so that is the time for either love or devotion. When rainy Sawan cometh, meditate on God's name under the Guru's instruction. All trouble, hunger, and pain shall be at an end when the rain falleth in torrents. The whole earth become green, corn groweth, and there appear harvest heaps. God Himself mercifully calleth man when he expecteth it not, and assigneth him a place. End of Section 44. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. Section 45 of the Sikh religion, its gurus, sacred writings and authors, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read for you by Chiquito, Crasto. The Sikh religion, its gurus, sacred writings and authors, Volume 2, by MACAULIFFE. Life of Guru Ram Das, Chapter 5, Part N. Khanra Ashtapadi. The advantages of listening to the Guru's instruction. O man, act according to the instruction of the Guru. As the iron goad subdueth the furious elephant, so let the goad of the Guru's instruction restrain thy heart. The wandering mind wandereth in every direction. If the Guru restrain it, it will fix its attention on God. If the true Guru put the word into the mind, the nectar of the Name shall trickle into the mouth. Man is filled with the poison of the serpents. The Guru's instruction is the jay which swalloweth them. The serpent Mammon will not then approach such a person. He will reject the poison and fix his attention on God. The dog covetousness is very powerful in the citadel of the body, but the Guru will in a moment smite and expel it. He will plant truth, patience, and faith instead. Then shall man sing God's praises. Mortal would sink into the mire of worldly love. Did the Guru not save him from sinking? When man repeating "Save, save" cometh into the Guru's sanctuary, the Guru reacheth his hand and extricateth him. The world is all like the play of a dream. God causeth the whole Name to be played. Under the Guru's instruction, take the Name as your prophet, and you shall be honoured in God's court. Pride acteth and causeth to act. Pride bringeth and putteth the charcoal of sin on man's head. The torturer death shall come, and cause man to eat what he hath sown. O saints, lay up God's name. Take it as your travelling expenses, and you shall obtain honour. Eat it, spend it, and bestow it freely, and God will so give you that where there shall be no deficiency. The wealth of God's name is in the heart. They who enter the Guru's protection shall obtain it. O slave Nanak, the Lord of mercy hath shown mercy, removed my misery and poverty, and blended me with himself. The Guru does for man what the philosopher's stone does for iron. O man, bethink thee of the Guru's protection. As iron becometh gold by touching the philosopher's stone, so do the virtues of the Guru, who is the philosopher's stone, enter his disciples. The great being, the true Guru, is a philosopher's stone. He who is touched by it shall obtain his reward. As by the Guru's instruction Prahlad was saved, so the Guru protecteth the honour of the servant. The true Guru's word is good. By means of it man obtaineth nectar. Khanre ki War. God's praises. Thou, O God, art the Siddh and the Striver. Thou art the Yogi of Yogis. Thou art the Taster of Tasters. Thou art the Enjoyer of Enjoyers. Thou pervadest all things. What thou doest taketh place. Hail to the true congregation. Hail to the true Guru, by meeting whom man repeateth God's name. All ye people, proclaim Har Har Hare, Har Har Hare. By thus uttering God's name, all sins depart. The Guru's instruction dispels poverty and sorrow. Poverty and sorrow shall depart from those who walk as pleaseth the true Guru. Nobody hath found God by walking his own way. O man, see and be assured of this. The ceremonies of the Hindus are marred by spiritual pride. Very fortunate are they who meditate on God. To them are entrusted God's storehouses. The acts done without God's name are ever spoiled by pride. Even when the elephant is rubbed and bathed, he will again throw dust on his head. God's attributes cannot be described. The Guru makes supplication. I have but one tongue, while God's merits are unapproachable and unfathomable. How can we silly persons repeat thy name, O God? Thou art great, unapproachable, and unfathomable. O God, grant us excellent understanding that we may fall at the true Guru's feet. O God, Lead us to meet the company of the saints, that we sinners may be saved with them. O God, pardon the slave Nanak and be pleased to blend him with Thee. O God, mercifully hear our supplication and save us who are sinners and worms. Though devotion be abundant, yet few obtain it. Devotion is a bubbling lake. Filled to the brim, it floweth over. The fortunate ones, O slave Nanak, who obey the true Guru, obtain it. The Guru gives divine knowledge to those who are prepared to receive it. He to whom the Guru giveth the salve of divine knowledge hath his eyes tinctured with God's love. Life without devotion is valueless. My mind and body are only of value when I behold God with mine eyes. Nanak, may I find that God and live ever hearing His praises. They who seek to injure God's slaves injure themselves. God's slaves repeat God's name. The ignorant aim arrows to destroy them. Nanak, God's slaves are saved by God's love. The arrows recoil on those who discharge them. Men ought to fix their attention on God alone. They whose eyes are attracted by God's love behold Him by means of the Name. If they look at any one else, O Nanak, they ought to be gouged out. God exerts Himself to give divine knowledge to the pious. God, the beneficent giver, putteth forth His hands and poureth rain on the world. For those who remember God's name, the corn germinateth and the field arriveth at maturity. God is with man, but can only be seen by means of the Guru. I am searching for my friend, but my friend is with me. O slave Nanak, the invisible is not seen, but the holy man showeth him. Kalyan. The Guru addresses God as a child his father. O God, have mercy on me, and I will sing Thy praises. I have ever hope in Thee that Thou wilt yet embrace me. I am a child, stupid and silly. My father will advise me. A son every moment erreth and committeth faults, but the Father of the world will still be pleased with him. We obtain only what Thou, O Lord God, givest. There is no other refuge for me to seek. God is pleased with the saints who are pleased with Him. The Lord of light will blend their light with His, and both lights shall unite. When God is merciful, He will fix man's attention on Him. The slave Nanak hath sought the asylum of God's gate, and God will protect his honour. Kalyan Ashtapadi. An injunction to speedily seek the society of the saints. O God, make me the slave of Thy slaves. As long as there is breath in my body, nourish me with the dust of the saints' feet. Shiv, Narad, Sheshnag, and the Munis long for the dust of the saints' feet. Every house where the saints put their feet becometh holy. Renounce shame of the saints' service, renounce all pride. When you meet a saint, abide with them. He will cause you to disregard Dharmaraj and extricate you though drowning in a sea of poison. They who are parched by superstition are thoroughly parched, but they shall bloom again by association with the saints. Wherefore, make not a moment's waiting or delay. Go and take the protection of the saints' feet. The singing of God's name is a precious thing which God deposited with His saints. It is offered him who obeyeth the Guru's word as the truest of the true. Hear, hear, ye brother saints, the Guru raiseth his arm and calleth unto men. Let him who desireth supreme mental happiness enter the true Guru's protection. Let him who is greatly fortunate and very virtuous fix the Name in his heart under the Guru's instruction. All worldly love is troublesome, but by drinking the elixir of God's name, man shall cross the world in comfort. They who possess excessive worldly wealth pine away in the midst of it. The way of ignorance is very gloomy and difficult, especially when man is weighted with a load of pride. Nanak, by ever repeating God's name, salvation is obtained. By meeting the true Guru, the Name is fixed in the heart, and by it man is blended with God. God is not found even by search without the true Guru. Supplementary Shloks. I love my dear one. How shall I meet my beloved friend? I search for that friend who is adorned with truth. The true Guru is my friend. If I meet him, I will sacrifice my life unto him. The dear one will show me God, the friend, the Creator. Nanak, I was searching for my beloved, but the true Guru hath shown him unto me. The holy man is the true lover who finds the truly beloved. The holy man is the true lover by whom the truly beloved is found. Nanak, man is then happy night and day, and naturally absorbed in God. The love and affection vouchsafed by God through the Guru are not forfeited. True love and affection are obtained from the perfect Guru. They shall never be forfeited. Nanak singeth God's praises. The holy man may be cheerful or serious. The holy man may laugh. The holy man may weep. Whatever he doeth is in God's service. Only those who possess discrimination and reflection serve the Guru. The service of the Guru and of peers is very difficult, yet it is the essence of happiness. God inspireth him on whom he casteth his glance with love and affection. The world will cross the terrible ocean if it attach itself to the true Guru's service. He in whose heart there is discrimination and reflection shall obtain the fruit his heart desireth. Nanak, when man meeteth the true Guru, he findeth God, the remover of all sorrow. It is only the holy man who can regenerate and save by giving God's name. Even though the perverse man perform service, he attacheth his heart to mammon. Sons, wives, and families increase his worldly love. None of them will save him when his account is at last called for in God's court. Without God's name all is misery. Worldly love causeth misery. Nanak, when the holy man appeareth, all worldly love departeth. The condition of the perverse. The perverse feel love of the world, not love of the name. They act falsehood, they amass falsehood, and they eat falsehood. They die amassing the wealth of poisonous mammon, and at last all become dust. They perform religious ceremonies, purifications, and self-restraint, but within them is a sin of greed. Nanak, what the perverse do is not acceptable. They are despised in God's court. It is good to sing God's praises, but they may also be uttered by ordinary speech. That is the best of all musical measures by which God abideth in the heart. Musical measures to which the word is sung are all true. Their word cannot be ascribed. But God is independent of musical measures and airs. His order cannot be understood merely from them. Nanak, he who understandeth God's order becometh free from desires, and obtaineth understanding from the true Guru. Everything cometh from him according to his will. End of Volume 2. End of Section 45, read for you by Chiquito Crasto, Lubbock, Texas. End of the Sikh Religion, its Gurus, Sacred Writings and Authors, Volume 2, by MACAULIFFE.